Hey, grace and peace, everybody. We're back. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. So you know what we're about to do. We are going to go over the indictment against Tyler Robinson. It just got dropped recently, and it's pretty interesting. So I figured we would go over that tonight. And I do have some other things I want to talk about as well. So thank you so much for jumping in on this evening. I appreciate y'all. It's been a long week, and I thank you that y'all keep tapping in. So thank you so very much for doing that. Feel free to jump into the best live chat on the internet. Go ahead and say what's up to your peeps. Hit the like button. That's, of course, your cost to get in. Jump in there and say what's up to you folks. Say hey, all that kind of good jazz. We'll definitely be shouting out the best live chat in the internet in a moment. And I thank y'all so much for rocking with me. Now, of course, we've been, if we need to, if it's necessary, we can go over what, if Candace drops anything new today. But I know a lot of people have stressed concern that we're talking too much about Lady Candaspiracy. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm willing to accept that. I'm willing to hear what other people say, though I don't think you can ever talk about foolishness like this too much, and we'll still come back to it. But I said, you know what? Today we will start off with reading Tyler Robinson's indictment because they just recently published it, and the link to it is down in the description already. If you would like to check it out on your own or have your own copy, let me just drop it in the chat as well. It is there and just made it available to you. But I'm gonna just go over it, and hopefully, Lord willing, we can have a legal expert. There's a couple of them that I've spoken with that would probably be willing to come on and talk about the indictment, talk about the seriousness of the case, the evidence that's been presented, and we're gonna go over all that in a moment as well. But I just thought it would be cool to have somebody else come and talk about it. So that's what we'll be doing. Well, Victoria, I thank you so much. Victoria Violet says, I actually love the shows where we talk about crazy Candaspiracy. I appreciate it. We will be talking about her because we can't get away from her. So we will be talking about her. Before I actually do that, let's talk about one of the things that's really stood out, because I have it scheduled, but I'm going to move it back, move it forward just a little bit. One of the fallouts of this Candaspiracy is the fact that yesterday we talked about, and even all this week, we've just talked about how much Candace is putting a target on people who are virtually innocent. They've done nothing wrong at all. And she's doxing people. She's putting people's bios out there, all that kind of stuff like that. And it's super problematic. So here's a gentleman that I think we can, this right here will affirm what I've said so far and what you've been thinking as well. So let me bring this in a moment. Thank you, Angela, for following on through with us this evening. Oh my gosh. Can you send it to me an email, Victoria? She said there's a YouTuber who's done a docuseries called Becoming Candace. Might be interesting. Send it to me. Email dearwokec@gmail.com. Drop that email in the chat. Bang, right there. What's going on, good people? Susie Q in the building. Thank you so much, hey, everyone. Off topic. Did you see the Diddy sentence? I did. And I want to talk about it, but I was going to give it a little bit of time. And I know Q will send me the best example. And we'll talk about it tonight if you want to. Absolutely. Q, just send me the best one if you don't mind. Thank you so very much, everybody. And we'll get at it. But I want to talk about what Tyler Boyer said here. And this is Tyler Boyer, and he works for Turning Point USA. He's been confirmed that he works there. All right. And let's just see what he talks about. I am sorry. I have to tweet this, but I do. Accusing innocent people, much worse, accusing the people who knew Charlie best, loved him more than just about anyone, and witnessed his death isn't just wrong. It's baseless, mudslinging on the same level as calling someone a Yahtzee or a fascist who is not. It signals to crazy people many evil ideas, thoughts, and feelings. It is calling the good bad and the innocent criminal. The worst part of this wicked behavior is that it is putting a target on the backs of the people working to carry out Charlie's work from before and after his murder. This harassment may emotionally or physically sideline them, stopping the work. Every single person who loves Charlie and knew him best will not settle for anything less than the truth throughout the process of grief, investigation, trial, and continuing on without the person who loved and who we know the world loved. I personally feel Charlie with us every day, and it has given our people strength to persevere in the darkest hours of our lives. I hope people will seek truth, apologize for getting things wrong along the way, support righteous causes, and strive to not engage with destructive forces that I believe the devil wants people to promote to undo the good work that emanates from Turning Point, Charlie, and everything he has left behind. Shout out to Tyler Boyer. I can't agree with him anymore. I mean, that is a fantastic summary of what we've all said. We've all said that this is really crazy work to be accusing people and to, again, tacitly say that the Turning Point is responsible for the deletion of Charlie is just insane work. And man, and it's not just Candaspiracy, but I think it's fair to say that she's been kind of like the figurehead, if you will. But there are so many of them out there, as Susie Q said. And I was thinking about other things that have happened. Like, you don't hear this many conspiracies about the Trump failed attempts. You don't hear this many conspiracies about anything else. You just don't. The amount, and I don't know if maybe I have no idea why, but this story has so many conspiracies, so many. And sure, we can say that the feds have not told us enough and so on and so forth. The feds haven't given us all of the information. Okay, we can have that discussion, but the feds haven't given us all the information about Malcolm Jamal Warner. The feds haven't given us fill in the blanks about pretty much anybody, high profile person who's passed away. And the amount of conspiracies is nowhere near the same. So I do think that there's something about that, and it does lend itself to, I think, some of these hyper conspiracies. Let me drop this in the chat for y'all as well, if you would like to follow Tyler Boyer and, of course, check out what he wrote. I'm sure I've seen other people talk about this as well, so I just wanted to make sure I did my best to do it also. But I do want to look at the actual charges and go over that with you all and kind of see what y'all think about it. Get your 2 cents. See if we can make $1 for sure. I do want to double check. I don't think our friend is going to be doing, she might do a live stream later. I don't know, but I'm not going to really worry about that. I do want to, some people were saying they don't want every episode to be about Candaspiracy. I'm like, okay, fine. But, and also, I don't think she's dropped a video. So if she drops a video, then maybe we'll jump over there and check it out. I do have some other things related to her, but let's go ahead and do this. Let's go. All right. This is the 4th jurisdiction, or rather judicial circuit court of Utah, state of Utah. The whole state of Utah is the plaintiff, and they are against who? Tyler James Robinson. Okay. I don't know why they don't have his case number and the judge name there, but maybe it'll be updated. I don't know. But we're going to go over this real quick. But I do want to say thank you to everybody who's jumped into the most electrifying live chat on the planet. I see some faces that I see all the time. I see Susie. I see Kiana in the building real quick. Beautific Vision. Thank you so much. I think you all are talking about the Diddy trial. All right. Just found Gary Hughes Investigates channel on here on the YouTube. He does really good work from the ones I've seen so far. Okay, maybe I'll check him out for sure. Send me a video one you want me to look at. Good to see you, Kay My Way. How are you? Angel in the building. I see Betsy B in the building. Candace's videos are reposted on dozens of channels. It has been 3 weeks. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people, but somebody sent me a really well done conspiracy video which is basically retelling nearly everything word for word and verbatim what Candace has said. And they're not founded at all. There's no rebuttals. It's almost like they just took Candace Spiracy's content and made another video out of it. And that's going to be problematic. My beautiful vision says, with friends like this, who needs? I agree with you. All right. I see some good folk here. Also, Officer Tatum is reading the official documents. I got them right here. Nana Sue, I got them right here. Dual monitor. I like that name. I need you to do Candace so I can watch you and not hear. I don't want to give her any views. Shout out. Well, hey, I'm here for you. Well, allegedly, everybody's getting paid. Following these people's logic, every single content creator is getting paid. Every one of them. So I think we all agree like that doesn't make sense. So, but I don't think Brandon is getting paid. Maybe he is. I have no idea. I honestly care. I don't think she will. I hate to say it. And I'll explain why I don't think she will, but it is what it is. Okay, I was on Brandon's live feed, and people on there are Candy's dum-dums, calling him out to apologize to her. Nah, ain't nobody got it. Nobody needs to apologize to Candace for what? If I disagree with you, I disagree with you. It is what it is. Ooh, shout out. Thank you, Victoria. I will real quickly open it up on the side just to see, just to look, checking out the emails. Shout out. Oh, this isn't, this isn't even long at all. Okay. Well, you know what, Victoria, you might have very well just given us another piece of content tonight, because that one's not long at all. Let me get at it. Let me get busy. What's going on, honey bun? Good to see you. Hey, oh. I don't understand. Truly, I don't understand conspiracies like that. So I agree with you, Betsy B. Jay Witt, for the life of me, I'm not getting your notifications. Okay. I have a video on my channel about what to do if you're not getting notifications. Let me see. Because there's a setting in YouTube, and it might have changed recently. And sometimes YouTube just be YouTubing. And I need to find that video right here. Sometimes YouTube just be doing the most. But there is a setting that a lot of people have turned off, not intentionally. All right, here it is. All right, I just dropped the link in the chat. If you are finding that you're not getting notifications, and this applies to everybody, not just me, not like I'm the only one that people really need to listen to. I appreciate you checking me out for sure. But I just dropped that link in there, honey bun. Let's get at it, because I got some stuff to talk about. Let's go. All right. The state of Utah, by and through the Utah County Attorney's Office, charges defendant with the commission of the following offenses. Count 1, aggravated deletion, a capital felony in violation of Utah code. I'm not going to read all those. On September 10th, 2025, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, intentionally and knowingly caused the death of Charlie Kirk under the following circumstances. The defendant knowingly created a great risk of death to another individual other than Charlie Kirk and the defendant. Okay. All right. Count 1. Aggravated murder. Conviction of this offense may carry the death penalty, or pursuant to the Utah Code, a mandatory term of imprisonment for life without parole, or the internment term of no less than 25 years, and that may be for life. All right. Aggravated murder, count 1. Victim target, targeting enhancement in violation of the Utah Code. Tyler James Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because of Tyler James Robinson's belief or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. Okay. Notice, if the trier of fact finds beyond reasonable doubt that the victim targeting enhancement applies, sentencing judge or the board of paroles and parole boards of pardons and paroles shall consider defendant's selection of this victim as an aggravating factor. Violent offense committed in the presence of a child, aggravating factor. The sentencing judge or the board of pardons and parole shall consider as an aggravating factor in their deliberations that the defendant committed a violent criminal offense in the presence of a child. Of course, there were children at Charlie Kirk's event. Okay. I'm digging it so far. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury. A first-degree felony in that on September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler Robinson, discharged a firearm in the direction of Charlie Kirk, knowing or having reason to believe that Charlie Kirk may be endangered by the discharge of the firearm and that the act caused serious bodily injury to Charlie Kirk. Again, victim targeting enhancement. That's an interesting term, victim targeting. So I guess because you didn't do it willy-nilly, but you went after somebody specifically. Okay. In violation of the Utah Code, Tyler Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because of Tyler Robinson's belief in perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. And this notice seems to be the exact same in both, all over. Yes, it looks like it's the same. So I'm going to jump down from the notice to the violent offense committing in the presence of a child aggravating factor. The sentencing judge or actually this is kind of the same too. The sentencing judge or the board of pardons and paroles shall consider as an aggravating factor in their deliberations to the defendant committed a violent criminal offense in the presence of a child. All right. So we got the first charge. Scroll up there. Okay. First charge, aggravated murder. Second charge, felony discharge of a firearm causing seriously bodily injury. Third charge, obstruction of justice. In that, on September 10th, 2025, in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler Robinson, with intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, and prosecution, conviction, or punishment of any person regarding conduct that constitutes a criminal offense, concealed or removed the firearm used to shoot Charlie Kirk, and the conduct that constitutes an offense would be a capital felony or first-degree felony. Okay. And I guess, yeah, they don't need to have the aggravating factors to it because there's nothing. Okay, I see what they're doing. Obstruction of justice. And in that, on or about September 11th, 2025, in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler Robinson, with intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of any person regarding conduct that constitutes a criminal offense, destroy, conceal, or remove the clothing he wore during the shooting, and the conduct that constitutes an offense that would be a capital felony or first-degree felony. All right. Count 5, tampering with witness. Oh, my goodness. Goodness gracious, tampering with a witness. All right, let's see what happened. Now, this is a third-degree felony in violation of the Utah Code, in that on or about September 10th, 2025, in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler Robinson, 1, believed that an official proceeding or investigation was pending or on or about to be instituted. 2, intended to prevent an official proceeding or investigation, and B, attempted to induce or otherwise cause his roommate to withhold testimony, information, and document, or an item to wit, directing his roommate to delete incriminating text messages. Whew. Okay. Yeah, okay. I got you. Wow, count 6. How many counts there were there? Okay. There's only 7 counts. Tamper with the witness. Again, just jump down to the most salient part. Taylor Robinson believed that the official proceedings and investigation was pending or about to be initiated, please forgive me, or intended to prevent an official proceeding investigation, and B, attempted to induce and otherwise cause his roommate to withhold testimony or information, to wit, directing his roommate to stay silent if police question the roommate. Okay. So he's got a stack of felonies. So he's got a 1, 2, 3. Yeah, these are all felonies. So they definitely are going to try to throw the whole book at him. The entire book is going to get touched by him for sure. And count 7. Violent offense committed in the presence of a child. Another one? Okay. In that, and this is a violation, of course, of the Utah codes, in that on or about the September 10th, 2025, in Utah County, the defendant committed criminal homicide in the physical presence of a child younger than 14 years old, with knowledge that a child was present and may have seen or heard the commission of the criminal homicide. Interesting. Okay, so count 7, it specifically says that the child was sub 14 years old, but up here, I don't see anything about the age of the child. In count 2, it just says that they did it and a child was present. Wait, sorry, here it is right here. Sorry about that. It's one of the aggravating factors that the child was present for count 2, but it doesn't say the age. I wonder why age is a big deal for count 7. Interesting. Okay. And now we're going back to our victim targeting enhancements. In violation of the Utah Code, Tyler Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because Tyler Robinson's belief and or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. Got you. Probable cause statement. Brian Davis of the Utah State Bureau of Investigation. Having probable cause to believe that the defendant committed the above listed offenses, submitted the following evidence to support the filing of this information. All right, let's go over some of the information that they have. All right, thank you so to everybody who's jumped in to the most electrifying live chat. Good to see you. Observation Station, thank you so much. I appreciate y'all jumping in. If I've not said, hey, there's Tina right there. How are you? Good to see you, friend. Kiro Chris, how are you? Good to see you. Absolutely disgusting me. Yeah, I don't know what her problem is, but the Lord does know, in fact. What's going on, Papa Dad? Thank you so much for stopping through. Let's get at it. If I missed you, please count. Don't hold it against me. Let's keep it going. Let's go. On September 10th, 2025 at approximately 12:23. Charlie Kirk was shot and deleted while speaking to a large crowd on the campus of the Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. That's counts 1 and 2. Police found the suspected murder weapon, a bolt-action .30-06 rifle nearby. Over the next approximate 33 hours, police conducted a manhunt for the shooter until the evening of September 11th, when Tyler Robinson surrendered to the police at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. DNA, please forgive me, consistent with Robinson, was found on the rifle's trigger. After shooting Mr. Kirk, Robinson hid the gun, count 3, discarded the clothing he wore when he fired the rifle, count 4, and told his lover roommate to delete incriminating text messages, count 5, and not to talk to police, count 6. Children were present at the time of the shooting, count 7. Okay. All right. That makes sense. If you don't agree with it, I can understand. But okay, I see where they're going. Let's keep it going. The shooting. Oh, by the way, this is only 10 pages. And so it's not as long as, of course, as some of the other things that we've read. But keep it going. TPUSA, a nonprofit organization founded in 2012 by Charlie Kirk, organized a public outdoor event to be held at noon on September 10th at UVU. The event was the first in a series of similar events to be held at college campuses nationwide. Mr. Kirk is a well-known conservative activist, famous for these types of events where he discusses various political issues and debates with audience members. His events and comments have garnered a significant number of supporters and drawn an ire of many who disagree with his political views. I wonder, would it be harsh for them to just say his religious views? Because is not all political. And I don't believe that everything should be just lumped in with politics. I wonder, is it just too hard for them to just say, yeah, his religious views were also problematic to people who disagreed with him? I just wonder, is that too much? Is that too difficult for them to do? You know what I mean? Let's see. The event at UVU was announced far in advance and garnered significant publicity and interest. Consequently, several hundred people attended. Mr. Kirk was interacting with the crowd before the event officially got underway. Then approximately at noon, Mr. Kirk seated himself under a portable canopy behind the table and microphone. He began speaking to the crowd and fielding questions from attendees, a format Mr. Kirk commonly used at his events. Mr. Kirk allowed the questioners to approach a microphone positioned directly in front of him. Okay. I do kind of wonder, I also wonder, how did Charlie come up with this idea of this format? It seems I like it. I just wonder how they came up with it. How did they get here with this format? I do think I think it's definitely one that works well. And I do pray that we're able to return to be able to do those kind of things, because I do think they're extremely valid and extremely useful in our war against the degrade of culture. But I wonder how they came up with it. I'm just thinking. And we continue. Mr. Kirk's team members were very close to him on his right and left, as well as some behind the canopy and others in various close locations near him. The large crowd surrounded Mr. Kirk on 3 sides. Temporary metal fencing separated attendees from Mr. Kirk by only a matter of feet. Directly above and behind Mr. Kirk was a UVU Hall flags, an indoor walkway spanning several hundred feet from floor to ceiling, glass windows which overlooked the plaza where Mr. Kirk was seated. People were on the walkway at the time of the shooting. Approximately 15 minutes into the event, Mr. Kirk was answering questions about mass shootings by transgender individuals when a gunshot rang out. The bullet struck Mr. Kirk in the neck. He slumped to the ground almost immediately. The bullet's trajectory passed closely to several other individuals besides Mr. Kirk, including questioner who was standing directly in front of Mr. Kirk. Children were visible near Mr. Kirk's stage when he was shot. Okay. Mr. Kirk was rushed to a nearby hospital where he was declared deceased. The medical examiner's report is pending. The UVU surveillance investigation. All right, let's keep it going. I see some good comments in the chat. Thank y'all so very much. Real quick, I appreciate y'all tapping in. If you're interested, I did leave the link to this. It's in the chat as well as the description of this video. You can check it out, have a copy of it. I'm sure it's going to be amended and such like that. And I'll keep, as more documents come up, as their docket pops up, I'll start keeping track of that, just like I'm doing with the Macrones. So thank y'all, everybody who's jumped in to the best live chat on the internet. We got about 108 people in here. I appreciate y'all tapping in. If you could, please make sure you hit the like button. Helps your guy out a whole lot. Let's keep it going. Let's get back to it, Jason. At the moment of the shot, UVU police officer, the UVU officer, was watching the crowd from an elevated vantage point. As soon as he heard the shot, he began to scan the area for threats. Believing the shot came from a rifle because of its sound, he looked for potential sniper positions. He noted a roof area approximately 160 yards away from this occurred as a potential shooting position and rushed there to look for evidence. The suspected shooting position is adjacent to an open publicly accessible walkway. To access the suspected location, a person must climb over a railing and then drop to the roof only slightly below. The UVU officer climbed over the railing and down onto the roof, and then walked to the suspected shooting position and confirmed a clear shooting corridor between the position and Mr. Kirk's seat. He also noticed markings on the gravel rooftop consistent with the sniper having laid on the roof. Impressions on the gravel potentially left by the elbows, knees, and feet of a person in a prone shooting position. Police reviewed the surveillance from the camera covering the roof and discovered that it recorded an individual dressed in dark clothing cross the railings from the public walkway and dropped onto the roof at approximately 12:15 p.m. Although the individual moved out of the camera's view for a short time, the camera again captured an individual running across the roof and then low crawling to the area, and the UVU officer recognized as where the suspected sniper had dropped into a prone shooting position. After a short time, which matches the known time of the shot, the individual The individual arose and ran across the roof to the northeast. Okay. This discovery led to intensive review of the UVU surveillance recordings, attempted to track the identity of the suspect. Surveillance revealed the following. At approximately 11:51 a.m., the suspect entered the campus from the north. He is seen wearing a black shirt with the American flag on the center, a dark baseball cap, and large sunglasses. Throughout the surveillance, the suspect kept his head down and rarely raised his head enough to get a clear image of his face. As he proceeds across the campus, he is seen walking with an unusual gait. The suspect walked with a very little bending of his right leg, consistent with the rifle being hidden in his pants. This unusual gait continues until the suspect is seen crossing the railing over the open walkway and onto the roof, where he leaves the camera's view. A camera later captures the suspect as he runs across the roof and the suspected shooting position. Immediately after the shot was fired, a camera captures the suspect running across the roof, carrying an item whose shape is consistent with the rifle. The suspect is then seen climbing down from the roof. He appears to drop the item he was carrying. He appears to drop the item he was carrying and hits the ground in a controlled fall. He then picks up the item and runs toward the northeast end of campus. All right. Law enforcement officers followed the suspect's escape path to the northeast end of campus, where they believe the suspect left campus and entered a wooded area. In the wooded area, investigators found a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel. The rifle contained one spent round and 3 unspent rounds. This is consistent with the facts that the officer observed at the time of and immediately after the shooting. No shell casings were found on the roof, suggesting a bolt action rather than an automatic auto-loading weapon. Okay. And only a single round was fired. Okay. I can dig it. Each round on the rifle contained an etched inscription of the following. The fired round. Notices bulge. Notices bulge. OWO, what's this? Second one, hey fascist, catch, arrow symbols. Third cartridge, oh Bella Ciao. Fourth cartridge, if you read this, you're GAYLMAO. The rifle ammunition rounds and towel were sent to forensic processing. DNA consistent with Robinson's was found on the trigger after other parts of the rifle, the fire cartridge casing, 2 of the 3 unfired cartridges, and the towel. Okay, so we got the rifle ammunition rounds and towel were sent to forensic processing. DNA consistent with Robinson's was found on the trigger, parts of the rifle, the fired cartridge round casing, and 2 of the 3 unfired rounds, and the towel. Okay, got it. Law enforcement was unable to immediately locate the shooter, so they published photos of the shooter from UVU surveillance cameras and asked for the public's help in identifying him. Meanwhile, law enforcement continued to try to identify the shooter through other means. The Washington County investigation. On the evening of September 11th, as law enforcement continued their investigation, Tyler James Robinson went to the Washington County Sheriff's Office with his parents and a family friend to turn himself in. Robinson's mother needs something to drink. Robinson's mother stated the following to the police. On September 11th, 2025, the day after the shooting, Robinson's mother saw the photo of the shooter in the news and thought the shooter looked like her son. Robinson's mother called her son and asked him where he was. He said he was at home sick and that he had also been homesick on September 10th. Robinson's mother expressed concern to her husband that the suspected shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed. Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay, pro-trans rights oriented, and stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. Wow, okay. This resulted in several discussions with the family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event in UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate. Okay. I just wonder, what do they have for this stuff? As I'm listening to it, I'm just wondering, do they have audio of it? They got video of mom and dad talking about it, whatever. I just want to know, how do they have this information? I believe they have it. I just want to know, how do they have it? And I don't want it to just be, trust me, bro. Do they have it on a sworn statement, something like that? Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle that police suspected the shooter used matched the rifle that was given to his son as a gift. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle. Robinson did not respond. However, I like that. I like that approach. Like, hey, boys, send me a picture of that gun. Granddad's gun. Show me a picture of it. Okay, all right, I see what you're doing, Dad. Robinson did not respond. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. Robinson implied that he planned to take his own life. Oh, my goodness. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home. Yeah, man, that's got to be sad, man, to hear your son talking like that. And then, as they discussed the situation, Robinson implied that he was the shooter and stated that he couldn't go to jail and just wanted to end it. When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there was too much evil and the guy, Charlie Kirk, spreads too much hate. They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with a family friend who was a retired deputy sheriff. As Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with the Robinsons and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. Okay. The family friend spoke to the police and reported telling Robinson that it would be best if he brought all evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search the parents' home. The family friend also asked Robinson if he had any clothes that were related to what he did. Robinson replied that he had disposed of the clothes in a different area. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Because we definitely have heard other things about the clothing. So he didn't have on the clothes that he wore, or he did? Okay. I feel like we definitely have heard different things about those clothes, but let's keep it going. The roommate. Police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. The roommate told police that the roommate received. Oh, I guess they don't want to use a pronoun, so they say the roommate again. Okay, received messages from Robinson about the shooting and provided those messages to the police. On September 10th, the roommate received text messages from Robinson which said, "Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard." The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that said, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it." Police found a photograph of this note. The following text exchange then took place. Okay, so he told him to drop what you're doing. Do they have the evidence from the cell phone provider about that? That's all I'm wondering. I don't want it to be a trust me, bro, but if they got it from the cell phone, and again, now somebody could have had his cell phone, of course, but this is on the 10th. So if, depending on when it is, he would still been in control of his cell phone and it wouldn't have been the police. Okay. After reading the note, the roommate responded, "What?" Multiple question marks. "You're joking, right?" Robinson, "I am still okay. I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep the secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. You weren't the one that did it, right?" "I am. I'm sorry. I thought they caught the person." "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in the similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of the side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering." "Why? Why did I do it? Yeah, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they've moved on. I haven't seen anything but about them finding it." "How long have you been planning this?" I mean, this conversation doesn't seem extremely out of pocket. I'm just wondering. I mean, it definitely seems like an interesting back and forth, to say the least. But by God's grace, I'll never have to be in a situation where somebody's confessing to me that they did a horrible crime like this. So I can kind of get it. So let's keep it going. How long have you been planning this? A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept the spot, but I don't want to chance it. So where was he then? Where was he when this was going on, I wonder? Where was he when this was going on? Because he says he's in Orem, but he didn't live there. So where was he holding up? I wish I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't what is that? I don't even care. I don't even know. I don't even know. Okay, that's what that is. IDEK. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace it to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in the brush where I changed outfits, didn't have the ability, the time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the blank will I explain losing it to my old man. Only thing I left was a rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The effing messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke already. I'm going to have to leave it. They really are effing, I'm sorry, that really effing sucks. What is UV? What is that? UWU. Hold on one second. I thought what was etched on the bullet was notices bulge OWO. What's this? Is that okay? I don't know. This is definitely some tech speech, for sure. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. I think that was a $2,000 scope. Delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. You are all I worry about, love. I'm much more worried about you. I don't talk to the media. I'm sorry, don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. All right. So, man, this is crazy. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. Okay, so my only thing is this is text speech, and everybody talks differently. I actually use my wife's name in a lot of the time when I'm texting her, even though I'm only talking to her. So like my love and stuff like that, that just seems kind of weird to me. Just, like this worried about my love. And I use my wife's name a lot of times in our text messages. But, I mean, this doesn't seem terrible. I thought it was really supposed to be like super mechanical, super chat GPT. I don't know. I'm like, now it could be fake, I guess. And I guess the defense is going to pull his cell phone records because they can pull that from wherever, AT&T, Verizon, fill in the blank. They can pull it and they can get their copy of it as well. So if in fact it's phony, then they'll know it pretty quickly. And I would think that if it's true, or if it's real, then he's in trouble. The search of Robinson's residence. Police executed a search warrant at Robinson's residence. During the search, police discovered a shell casing with etchings like the etchings found on the shells in the rifle near UVU. Police also found several targets with bullet holes in Robinson's home. I want to know, did he go to the gun range? Where did he do this shooting at? If he did shoot, where did it come from? Because most people don't bring their targets home if you go to the gun range. Aggravated murder pertains to Robinson's shooting and killing of Charlie Kirk in a manner that exposed others, in addition to Mr. Kirk, to great risk. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm pertains to Robinson's shooting toward Mr. Kirk, knowing that doing so would endanger those in the bullet's path. The shot caused serious bodily injury to Mr. Kirk, ultimately resulting in his death. Obstructing justice pertains to Robinson removal and hiding of the rifle he used to shoot Mr. Kirk. Obstructing justice pertains to Robinson's removal and hiding of the clothing he wore when he shot Mr. Kirk. Witness tampering pertains to Robinson's statement to his roommate, telling his roommate to delete their text exchange that followed the shooting. And witness tampering pertains to Robinson's statement to his roommate, telling his roommate, if any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. Count 7. Oh, wait, count 7. Violence offense committed in the presence of a child pertains to Robinson's shooting Mr. Kurt in the presence of children under the age of 14 who were visible at the event. That's interesting. Based upon evidence received from Mr. Brian Davis, the Utah State Bureau of Investigation, I have reason to believe the defendant committed the offenses as charged herein, authorized to presentment and filing on September 16th, 2025. Okay, so they filed this several days ago. Okay, cool. All right. All right, people. That is it. If you're interested in this, you want to go over it yourself, I did leave the link to it in the description. Interesting. Only thing is, I noticed that the other cases that I've read here on this channel, they have like an e-file notice, like a big e-file that's been received by the clerk of the court, and it's not here. But maybe that's just something, maybe that's just what they do. But, all right. Let us dance. All right, what do y'all think about it? Hey, shout out to Brian. Brian, we know how Brian feels. Shout out to Brian. Thank you for the very kind $2 super. Brian says that. Trust me, bro, 100% should be a t-shirt. It should. Absolutely. Somebody ask, is Candace on? I don't know. I don't think so. Let's check real quick. I don't think she's on today. She took the day off. Y'all told her she needed to take some time off and be with her kids. Maybe she's taking her children on a field trip. Maybe she's doing some mommy things. Maybe she's hung up her microphone and is actually tending to her family. Shout out to Candace. All right, what y'all think about it? Let's go. Lone gunman, I see. All right. Just looking to see what are your thoughts about this. I see a lot of conversation. I missed the big conversation y'all are having. Well, thank you, friend to this. I love that you are the very few people who are applying pressure on Candy. Yeah, we got to put that Candy under pressure there. We got to see if she cracks under pressure. It hasn't been filed yet. There's no case number. That's why. Okay, thank you. So I got a copy of it before it got filed. There we go. Why has it not got the case number? She probably got another lawsuit. Look, let me tell you that. Let me tell you. I mean, come on. All right. Ooh, James. James says Candy's taking the day off to count her Qatari coins. I'm sorry. She probably in her lawyer's office, right? They probably say, girl, what are you doing? What are you up to? Causing all this trouble. Oh, she does take Friday off? Okay. That could be truthful too. All right, what is this here? Honey Bun says this. Yep, checks out. I hear the judge plans to make the trial and even execution public. Wow. Yeah. Maybe we'll fly out to Utah. We'll all meet up in Utah and check it out. Let's see, we got Candy Crush is crazy. That's hilarious that you said that. Shout out. Oh, no problem, friend, no problem. Let's see what we got. So what are your thoughts on this indictment? I mean, what we have right here, like it or not, is the case against Tyler Robinson. Does it give us every question answered? No, not really. Does it hit definitely some of the high points and the mid points? I think so. I do have more questions, but I think those more questions are really just things that'll pop up during trial. But what are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts? Well, I see. Well, let's just be honest. Everybody wants to talk about Candace conspiracy, so let's keep this going. Candace had nothing to say yesterday. That's a very good point. Nothing. Yesterday's show was really nothing. She didn't talk about anything. And Drake says here, she glossed over that letter. I keep saying that. I want the Candies to answer. Why did she skip over the letter? Why did she not address the letter at all? Why did she not come back and explain and tell how she knew that 48 hours before Charlie's deletion that he was considering bringing her back? And why did we not hear about that until almost 20 days later? Like, what was up with that? Really, Nicole? No days off. She says off days are weird. Really? I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that would be 100% wild. I wouldn't. I wouldn't doubt it. And then for her to say the days off are weird, and then to take a day off is right on brand. It's right on brand. So Bella says this. I heard he turned himself in because he didn't want to be shot. Isn't that ironic? I mean, maybe he turned himself in because he thought he could prove that he was innocent, or he just didn't want them to come raiding his house or beat his door down. Man, do you know if they raid your house and kick your door down and burst through your windows, all that stuff, they don't have to repair that stuff. That stuff is then, and sometimes they don't even like really secure the house. They don't put another door up or something like that, or make sure that your house is secure. So if they raid your house, it is very possible your house could still get pillaged by looters after the fact. So maybe just like, you know what, let me go turn in so I don't have to have them tear up my mom and dad's house, tear up my house, and such like that. Maybe. Now, that don't mean that when they came to do when they executed the warrant, they didn't tear it up. That doesn't mean that either. All right, what we got here? Shout out to Realtor. I just watched a video on the channel called Filibuster. It's called Becoming Candace Owens. Very interesting. I have it queued up right here. Is that the channel? Yeah, that's the name of the channel. Shout out. I got it right here. It's up next. We'll do that next, even though I had some other things planned. But clearly, I want to talk about that. So I give the people what they want to hear. We do that over here. Just make sure, y'all just make sure. What do y'all do? Y'all going to touch that like button. Y'all do touch that. You do that, and I'll bring this video up. Let's go. Come to Salt Lake City. We'll do like a meetup in Salt Lake City. I think that'd be crazy. Now, do y'all got bees there? Do y'all have bees there? I'm just saying. Thank you, MT. What does he say right here for the $2 super? She's probably off because Tyler called her out. But why? This is my only problem with that. And thank you for the $2 super. I'm not disagreeing with you. Why does it take an employee from Turning Point to put out a tweet for your humanity to kick in and the good for you to do something right and stop attacking the family, the business, the ministry, the friends of the person you said was your best friend? Why does it take Tyler's tweet to do that? When a pastor did it, people around Charlie ask you to stop. But then if that be the case, which I hope she does stop, but I'm just like, that's messed up that it took all that in order for you to even do the right thing. You know what, Brian? We should role play. I'm gonna bring you on and we'll read it together. I can understand what you're saying, but text messages are such a weird, I'm sure there's somebody who's like a linguist that has done like studies on text speech, because text speech just seems strange. Like when my daughter texts me, she texts me some of the craziest stuff and I just know what she's talking about. And if you read it, you'd probably be like, what the world? I'm sure I understand what you're saying, but I'm willing to say, because I'm sure every last one of us got text messages that are weird, man. The way they talk is just strange. And, so I don't know. I understand what you're saying. I just don't want to throw them under the bus like that. Shout out. What do we got here? Oh, Jen, I will. I do it all the time. Candace Owens is not a Christian at all. By any definition that you want to use, she's not a Christian. There, my name is Jason. Yeah, Sin says, look, that brother's guilty, man. That brother's throwing him under the bus. I mean, it makes total sense. I'm sure, sadly, the defense has a whole slew of probable cause data to sort through. They're probably not even going through their law books now. They're probably going through a particular YouTuber's conspiracy theorist series that they've been dropping since Charlie Kirk was deleted. That's probably what's happening. And they're probably scouring and finding a way to bring in a whole bunch of ideas that nobody logical would have thought of until this person. That's just my little 2 cents. What does he say right here? Shout out to Reincarnation A. Will Brandon Tatum flat out ever call out Candace, or will he just use subliminal? Please forgive me. I don't think he's ever going to call her out. I don't think so. Even though, I don't think he's ever going to call her out. And I mean, they have some pretty deep theological arguments and differences that I think almost are greater than what we see here with the whole Israel and Bibi did it type of argument. And you'd never hear him argue it. And I think those are more valid cases than what we're looking at right now. And he's never called her out then. So if he don't call her out then, I don't think he's going to call her out over this, in my opinion. All right. Lots of good conversation about all kinds of stuff, man. Y'all be having great conversation. Okay, so let's get at it. All right. I did leave the link for that. Now, a lot of people were talking about this, and shout out to this channel. I've never seen it before. I am going to subscribe to it right now on faith based upon information and belief. It's called Filibusted. And they dropped a video called Becoming Candace, the real story of Candace Owens. I've not seen it. I'm going to give it a thumbs up on faith, and I'm going to drop the link in the chat, and I will do my very best to remember to add the link to the description when I get done. So let me bring this in. Now, I'm taking it on faith, y'all. Y'all told me it was good. I trust you. Don't come up in here and it be janky now. I'm gonna blame it on every last one of y'all. I know who it was that recommended it to me. Let's bring it in. Let's go. All right, here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear. Let's go.
And today I have been sued by the First Lady Man of France.
You don't get sued by the entire French government by playing it safe. You don't go to court with a foreign president on accident. Are we describing the underdog story of a lifetime? One woman, Candace Owens, against French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife, First Lady Brigitte. Some have called Candace's theory the most outrageous, unbelievable story ever heard. Others have called it a masterpiece of investigative journalism.
And then it turns out she's right.
Yeah. Either way, it could be considered the trial of the century. a trial that echoes the passions of one bold woman influencer. Anakin, woke right, anti-Semite, bully. These accusations, and others like them, bombard the comments section beneath nearly every X post from @RealCandiceO. But are they accurate? How did Candace Owens go from reawakened conservative poster child to controversial podcaster mom fighting a legal battle against a foreign sitting president? What twists and turns lead a person to a moment like this? If we humans are largely the result of our combined experiences, then what happened to Candace in her lifetime that would cause her to take the stand she is making today? Candace would tell you in so many words that she was partially raised a camouflage conservative who then, like many others, deviated from that path in college years. It is clear that Candace learned some conservative values under the guidance of her grandfather. Though she doesn't directly attribute her ideology to her grandfather, she regularly dotes on him, and for good reason. Hardworking, all-American, bootstraps kind of character. During Candace's preteen era, she became collateral damage to her parents' divorce, which, in a twist of fate, thrust her into what she would come to recall fondly in her adult years as a positive and pivotal season of her life. Amidst the divorce, she was sent to live with her grandparents, where she would at least be partly shaped by the character and history of her grandpa. Robert Owens grew up in North Carolina on a Jim Crow-era sharecropping farm. Robert knew a tough life under the social strains of that time, but attempted to raise his grandchildren with a healthy fear of God, imparting some valuable lessons into Candace's life. Perhaps one of the most formative events of her life was during high school. A fallout between good friends turned into a nasty lawsuit, nearly ruining the lives of a few teenagers forever. The story goes, Candace had missed a series of phone calls, and upon checking the voicemails, was shocked and disturbed to hear the voice of a friend making death threats and racial slurs directly aimed at her. Not wanting to make a big scene, but also in fear of her life and safety, she reported the incident to school authorities, who took the case very seriously until it was discovered that one of the perpetrators just so happened to be the son of the local mayor. Politics did what politics does, and after a few months of battling in the court to ascertain the true events, the boys involved received a heavy slap on the hand, and Candace received a modest settlement to cover lawyer fees and other related expenses paid for by the school district. Candace has often expressed remorse over the fallout, and it remains a detrimental event in her life to this day. Having to endure such a public injustice as this can leave a permanent imprint. What kind of repercussions did this have on a young, impressionable Candace? Is this the moment she acquired that first layer of thick skin she wears so boldly today?
When I was in high school, I received a slew of messages. Bottom line, it's not fun to be a victim. And I'm adamantly against victimhood.
If her heart still bears a wound, is that wound festering or healing? In college, Candace fell for the liberal agenda, a point in history she never shies away from. In fact, she uses it often as fuel to light up the left. In the pursuit of journalism, Candace quickly came to realize the financial complexities of school was not worth the payout, and eventually she would drop out early. Not one to simply fade into the background, she put her convictions to work and designed a website intended to expose bullies online. The concept was simple and appeared an innocent endeavor. SocialAutopsy.com was a website intended to lift the masks off of online bullies by linking online harassment posts.
So, real quick, two things. Actually, three things. Please forgive me. Three things. I am well aware that Troy Black is a false teacher. At the current, his theology is hot mess. At the current moment, however, he is cooking with Candace. He knows what he's talking about at the current moment. So I'm going to give him grace. And nobody else has done one. So at the current moment, this is the newest, the most relevant dissection of Candace. So number one. Number two, I think it's interesting how much Candace likes to dig into people's families, and we don't know her dad and mom's names. As much as she dug into other people's family histories and such like that, that is really wild to me. And then next, I think it's very interesting. This is the place where Candace moved from being a liberal to a conservative, right here with this social autopsy website that she built. Oh, and then lastly, how funny is it that social autopsy was meant to reveal and dox people's social media profiles and such? Isn't that what she does right now in real time? Isn't it crazy? She just come back full circle. Anyway, those are it. Thank y'all so much. Let's keep it going. Let's roll.
To real identities. At first, the project merely raised eyebrows, but it didn't take long to generate some serious heat and even lead to a deeper conspiracy between Candace and two other, what Candace calls professional victims. The story is full of twists and turns and extremely odd coincidences. The end result is Candace ruffled the feathers of a prominent anti-harassment group at the time, and her Kickstarter project became indefinitely suspended. Immediately afterwards, her inbox was flooded with more death threats and hate mail that would span the whole spectrum of online abuse, from the most dismissible comments to the most vile things one can conjure. Was their rejection of Candace's work a sign of jealousy from anti-bully competitors? In the Wild West films, they would say, "This town ain't big enough for the two of us." Or was there something deeper happening behind the scenes? Without funding or backing of any sort, Candace was forced to abandon that hill rather than die on it. However, she continued to carry her banner to other hills. Unfortunately, the social autopsy story is too convoluted to come to any reasonable conclusion. As with every story, there are two sides, and this one requires picking. Was Candace bullied out of her platform for standing up for the right to denounce bullies online? Or had she actually crossed a line? Had she created a form of predictive policing similar to Minority Report, where someone could be punished before proven guilty? Was she setting herself up to be the judge, jury, and executioner? She obviously desired to root out an atrocious and common evil, but did she accidentally open the gates for another?
Okay, I'm going to stop again because I don't want to just play the guy's video. I think this is a very interesting, if you do any research into what happened between Candace Owens and Kim Klacik, I don't know if he's going to bring up Kim Klacik, but the story about Kim Klacik and Candace Owens really does sound like this statement right here that he said, "This town ain't big enough for the two of us." Or this town isn't big enough for Candace. Oh, I'm sorry. If you find out about what happened with Kim Klacik and Candace Owens and that lawsuit and such like that, I do think you would be very interested in the similarities and such of that nature. Okay, let's keep it going.
Was this a defensive tendency morphed into a weapon? Either way, Candace had a rude awakening with the shutting down of social autopsy and has claimed that this was the experience that would ultimately change her political viewpoint forever. In her words,
I became a conservative overnight. I realized that liberals were actually the racists, that liberals were actually the trolls.
social autopsy is why I'm conservative.
I got to stop again.
It wasn't long after this when
I got to stop again. It's interesting how often Candace makes serious life-altering changes on the dime. She went from becoming a liberal to a conservative just like that. She went, later on, you're going to hear how she converted from Catholicism. I'm sorry, how she became a quote-unquote Christian, and then how she went from being a Protestant to a Catholic, just like that. It is super fast. Candace does not have any, I want to say like any mooring, but she's not tethered, she's not anchored to anything. She just goes like whatever changes, she changes. And I think that's very interesting. Let's bring this back in. Here we go.
Candace took inventory of her social and political environment. You see, up to this point, she was steeped in the general liberal community and considered herself a part of that club. For example, in an early blog site she ran called Degree 180, she regularly wrote and posted articles that were sometimes neutral and oftentimes very critical of conservatives, Republicans, and specifically then presidential candidate Donald Trump. This was merely an evidence of the likely influence she was under. Although her conservative roots were beginning to grow, she was still heavily influenced by her time as a college student, intern at Vogue, living a New York City and fashion world lifestyle, and so on. Looking back, this period in her life is indicative of a battle between two opposing forces. Making the firm decision to transition to a role of conservative influencer, she launched another media outlet called Red Pill Black, where she garnered serious attention from both sides by calling out the inconsistencies and contradictions of the far left. The hard pivot was so intense and laser focused that it raised questions from many on both sides. Was she simply following a pattern of attacking the things that offended her most at that moment? Or was the blooming of a character that had been long since planted only now coming to life in the full sun? Either way, she quickly became the conservative media darling and was swept away by the positive support and enthusiasm from her new conservative base. While once critical of Trump, she turned into an advocate and espoused the common sense rhetoric that had seemed to be innate all along, but only now was expressed in true form, at least until the next changeup.
Candace Owens has a beef, but this time it's with a right-wing darling.
Here we go.
2021, just before Candace goes to work for the Daily Wire, she becomes embroiled in yet another public scandal. During an Instagram live feed, Candace leveled a series of accusations against former Republican congressional candidate Kimberly Klacik.
And yet nothing on the website works, which is totally bizarre. And it looks to me like it was just created late in the day to move some money off of the books. That's my conclusion. My feeling is that some money was laundered. That's a feeling. I cannot confirm that.
She claimed the Congresswoman was guilty of money laundering, tax fraud, illegal drug use, and misusing campaign funds. Not only that, but she took it a step further and said Klacik was a madam who was recruiting strippers for her husband's strip club. Unshockingly, Klacik denied the allegations in a bold move to shut Candace down. Klacik decided to sue her for defamation, seeking a startling $20 million in reparations to her tarnished career. What Klacik did not account for was the laws of the state of Tennessee, where the suit took place. Tennessee just so happens to have one of the strongest free speech related laws in the country. Serendipitously, it is called the anti-SLAPP law, and Tennessee takes it very seriously. A strategic lawsuit against public participation, otherwise known as SLAPP, is described as this in a recent article from the Tennessean. SLAPP suits are a type of costly lawsuit used to silence criticism and prevent people from exercising their First Amendment rights through the threat or application of baseless and expensive legal proceedings. Essentially, an anti-SLAPP law means you can't just sue someone because they accuse you of something, no matter how inaccurate that accusation might be. SLAPP is often used by prominent figures as a sort of bully mechanism, allowing those in power to use money as leverage. Was Candace reeling from the slap of the bully all over again? Or was this a fight she welcomed? Was this a good journalist standing firm in the spirit of free speech? Or was this a continued pattern of controversy lust? SLAPP suits are designed to incur such extreme fees and costs that the average person can't afford to defend themselves, including Candace. But she stood her ground. Under Tennessee's strong anti-SLAPP law, Candace not only won her suit against Klacik, but was awarded over $100,000 to cover the legal fees. But Tennessee is, interestingly enough, not the only state with strong anti-SLAPP laws. In fact, most of the US has these laws and are graded on a percentage basis. Some states have a grade of 0, as in no laws. Then, of course, the max goes to 100, which is described as excellent. One such state just happens to be Delaware. For those who have been paying attention, you already know where I'm going with this. Candace found herself neck deep in yet another legal battle this time. However, she upped the ante and set her sights on a powerful political world leader, the president of France, Emmanuel Macron.
That is still so crazy to me. All right, so shout out, man. This is not bad. This is not bad. I did drop the link to this video in the chat. Is this it right here? Yep. All right, so I dropped the link to the video down in the chat. If you want to check it out yourself, it's called Filibusted, and it's pretty interesting. I do think I wish the host, his name's Troy Black, I wish he had went over some of the other cases, because Candace has had several lawsuits and beefs with people. I do think it would help, because he asked, is Candace a bully? And I think if he had gone over some of those other cases and issues and dust-ups and beefs that she's had on social media, I think it would give a better picture of who Candace is and why she behaves like this. Like, it's pretty wild. So anyway, okay, shout out for sure. Thank you to everybody who's jumped into the live chat. Go ahead and make sure you say what's up. Make sure you touch that like button. Let's go.
Candace wasn't actually the forerunner of this next story, but she certainly picked up the torch to run it all the way to the finish line. Early 2021, a certain interview between a journalist and a self-proclaimed clairvoyant went viral on YouTube, racking up hundreds of thousands of views in a short time. In this video, French independent journalist Natasha Ray made a bold claim that the First Lady of France was actually a man. The story eventually came across the desk of Candace Owens, where she took it so seriously that she ended up publicly stating, "After looking into this, I would stake my entire professional reputation on the fact that Brigitte Macron is in fact a man." The accusation lit the world on fire and has since caused the French president and first lady a significant amount of emotional and political stress. Why would Candace level an accusation as disruptive as this one? Does Candace flippantly play with fate? Or could this be a hill worth dying on? The situation expanded into such a controversy that Macron decided to take Candace to court and sue her for defamation. Once again, Candace jumps into the ring. Is this a spotlight she enjoys? Or could it be that she has been conditioned for this kind of conflict for a reason? Perhaps this is a chicken and egg quandary. Which came first, the affinity for public legal battles or the inevitable life trajectory of one so conditioned to endure this exact type of dispute? Maybe the more important question is, why is she so willing to take such a potentially risky stance on a story this sensational? Does 2025 Candace concretely believe she's going to win this lawsuit? Or does some level of doubt still linger in the equation in her mind? If the risk is known, why take the chance? Could it be as simple as the pattern of success? Up to this point, Candace hasn't lost a battle yet. Does the old proverb, pride goes before destruction, apply here? Or will Candace come out victorious once again? It is important to note that the two women who initially launched this theory against Brigitte were already taken to court in France by the Macrons, where at first, in the lower courts, the Macrons experienced success. However, it was short-lived, and the two women were exonerated and found not guilty of defamation in an appeal that took place in July of 2025. Was this verdict a foreshadowing for Candace? The case against Candace would not land on French ground, but instead would be destined for the Delaware court. And if you recall from the classic suit story, Delaware is one of the strongest anti-SLAPP states in the country and rates at a perfect score of 100. Coincidence? Maybe. But if not, Delaware may have been a strategic move from the start. Did Candace incorporate her businesses in Delaware on purpose so that she could potentially make whatever claims she wanted? It would be too easy to dismiss Candace Owens as a crazed conspiracy theorist, unworthy of public attention, and yet perhaps too unfair to the public to simply let her off the hook and not hold her accountable for her claims. When looking at her life through the only lens we have, a publicly available one with natural limitations, the highlights are revealed organically. From the bullied, scared teenager to the stoic, hardened personality we see today, it begs the question, has Candace become what she loathed in her younger years? Has Candace now in fact become the bully she vowed to protect people from? Or are we asking the wrong questions? The honest truth is that no one knows but Candace herself and God. And maybe she doesn't even know. Is the Candace that we see simply an act, a personality she dons as a mask in order to accomplish whatever means she intends, be it notoriety, money, excitement, or truth? Or maybe the Candace that we see is really just Candace, and what you see is what you get. Time will tell.
Okay. I appreciate that. That was dope. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks for watching. Whether you believe Candace is a righteous figure standing for justice or not, her story can actually be a warning to us all. Be careful in your passion, lest you become the very thing you hate. It's easy to see that this world is a sinful place, and sadly, sometimes we find ourselves wrapped up in the very evils that we condemn. It's true that in a lot of ways, our decisions today are defined by patterns from our past. What started as innocence is left broken, marred by shame and regret. But what if I told you there was a way to break off the negative patterns and be free again? And I'm not trying to sell a self-help book here. I'm actually talking about a spiritual truth that changed my life. I have some good news today. I believe there is a way to become something more than what our past dictates. And the answer is not so hard to find. It's found in a simple story. The Bible tells us that the one who did not know sin became sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. This is the story of a holy God who created a people that he loved with a perfect love. Yet those people wandered away from him and in some cases ran away. But because he still loved them so much, God came to the earth as a man, lived a perfect life, and then allowed people to kill him unjustly by hanging him on a cross. When Jesus did this, he was taking the punishment for sin, our sin, upon himself. And he was making a way for us to know God again. As he hung on that cross, he became sin so that we could become new, so that we could be forgiven and become something more, friends with God, people that will spend eternity with him. I believe this is more than just a story. I believe it's true. And it has changed my life in every way. And it can do the very same thing for you today, if you choose to believe it. My friend, we shot this whole video to be able to say this to you. Jesus is right there, and he's reaching out to you. I hope you enjoyed this content, and I'll see you next time.
Okay. I agree. I'll give them credit for that. I give people credit when they do dope stuff, and that was excellent. That was an excellent retelling of Candace, as well as an excellent gospel message at the end. So shout out for sure. I want to hear what y'all think in the chat. I need to know, what do y'all think about the Becoming Candace video series? What were your thoughts on it? Absolutely, some green hearts rocking and popping. Always appreciate that. Jesus is King indeed. I thought it hit all the high parts for sure. Even though I just said I don't think he talked about all of the lawsuits or dust ups that she's been in, he does actually give a passing glance to it right here. Let me find it. He does give passing head nod to it, where he shows all these different superstars and celebrities. I don't see it. Darn it.
of
And I think that was cool because it at least gives you a place to look. Like her and Lizzo got into it. Of course, Cardi B got into it with her. I'm trying to see, find it real quick. So I don't think it was, in my opinion, I don't think it was weak at all. I thought it was, again, just enough. It's only 20 minutes. I don't think that's bad at all. Okay, I think I found it. Hold on one second. Let me just show you real quick what I was talking about. All right, I'm just going to mute it and just play through it. But I don't think I thought he did a pretty good job. Let me see what y'all got. Let me see. All right, so
available one with natural limitations. The highlights are revealed organically. From the bullied, scared teenager to the stoic, hardened personality we see today.
Right.
It begs the question, has Candace become what she loathed in her younger years? Has Candace now, in fact, become the bully
okay,
she
there's Kim Klacik.
vowed to protect
That's the Macrones.
people from?
Who's this guy? Who's this dude? Can y'all put in the chat? Who's this guy? So this is clearly somebody that she's had a dust up with online.
Or are
Cardi B, there we go.
we asking the
Who's that guy? I don't know any of these guys. Harry Styles, that's who that is. Ed Sheehan. Is this Harry Styles? I don't know who these people are. He's a singer, all right. Harry Styles, all right. And then who's this guy? Who's this dude? Lance Bass. Yeah. Okay, well, he was in a group. NSYNC. There you go. Y'all are in my mind. Okay, Lance Bass from NSYNC. She had a beef with him. Great day.
wrong questions?
Who's this? Lance Bass. So needless to say, where I was going with that is at least he's put in some of the other dust ups that she's had for you to look up and do your research on. That's what so he's in the Alphabet Crew. Got you. Lance Bass is in the Alphabet Mafia. Is this JoJo Siwa? What? Siwa. Okay, JoJo Siwa. All right, so she dusted up with her too. Like, yeah, she stay in the controversy. Oh, and then of course, yeah, here we go. We forgot about Kamala Harris. Beyonce's mama, Beyonce's husband. Good mercy. Who has she not had a dust up with? Good day. So I thought the handling of that was on par for sure. And JoJo's Alphabet as well. Dang, she got everybody number. Good gracious, man. Hey, well, thank you so much, man. Dude looks like a lady. Man, thank you, James, for the 2 pound, is that pounds, right? 2 pound super. Thank you so much, man. Dude looks like a lady. You're out of control. And thank you again, Proverbs 31 Girly, for the $2, as well as how she came up with the name Blexic. Yeah, he missed that part. He didn't talk about Blexic. Okay. I will give you that. I'll give you that. I'm willing to accept that. Okay. I just think it's interesting. Cardi B Candace Owens threatened to sue Cardi B. And Candace Owens never sued Cardi B. They got into that big whole discussion. And Cardi B said some pretty, dare I say, pretty spicy things about Candace's husband. And Candace never sued Cardi B. I just think that was interesting. As much as she talks big, she just let it go. She just left it alone and just went back to internet beefing or Twitter beefing. I just think that's interesting. All right. Really? JoJo was alphabet. Candace said it was all an act. Now JoJo is straight. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Well, thank you so much, Gabriel. I appreciate you. British pounds, sterlings. Now, those have nothing to do with shillings, right? Or shekels. Don't let me get any shekels up in here. I don't need anybody, accusing me of that. I don't want that accusation. Oh, yeah. I did a video about it. Her and Cardi got into it about, and hear me, I'm not a Cardi B apologist at all. Cardi B and Candace got into it after Cardi B was on the Grammys with that very explicit show that she did with Meg Thee Stallion. Meg Thee Stallion? Whatever. And she said some pretty wild, Candace said some wild things. And so Cardi said some wild things back. And Cardi B said something about Candace's husband being not for the females on the street, shall we say. And Candace stood down. I'm not saying that Cardi B was right in what she said, but it just seemed like, oh, Candace didn't want that smoke. I wonder why. I'm just saying. I did a video about it. Oh, no. I did a video about it. I can't remember exactly what I know they're both on the thumbnail, but it was interesting. That's all I can say. I'm going to leave it just like that. Shout out for sure. I appreciate y'all. Man, there's a lot of good conversation going on in the chat, which is always good. I'm always appreciated. All right. Now, I had intended to, I did have another video I want to talk about Candace, but I want to do something. Let me see. Okay. In the chat, we're gonna just do a little bit of a survey of something. In the chat, can you please type for me? I'm gonna ask a question. Do you feel that Candace Owens thrives on controversy? That's my question. Do you think she thrives on controversy? Yes or no? I should have made a poll. That's what I should have did, Jason. Should have made a community post. A poll question. Do you think she thrives on controversy? Okay. Lots of people saying yes. You know what? I'm glad that y'all say yes. I want to show you something that I think might interest you. You might find just like, well, that's kind of odd. That's kind of, that's telling. All right, let's bring this in. So there have been there have been rumors. There have been a little dusting up, a little bit of rumbling, if you will, that people think that Candace is doing this only for the engagement, the clicks, the views, if you will. And hey, I'm not ever going to say that somebody can't do what they want to do to garner money. I can't do that. Okay. I want to bring this in. I want to show you something. Hold on one second. All right. Bring this in, Jason. All right. This is Social Blade. Y'all know about Social Blade. We've talked about it before on this channel. If you go to Social Blade, you can type in your favorite YouTuber, TikTok, Instagrammer, Facebook person, whatever, and kind of see their analytics, their numbers, if you will. All right. So we see that this is Candace Owens' main site, Real Candace O. She has 5.34 million subscribers. She has 1 billion views. That is billion with a B. That's crazy work. All right. And she got on YouTube on September 22nd, 2015. So she just had an anniversary. Actually, 10-year anniversary. Shout out for sure. All right. Well, Jason, where are we going with this? All right. If you go down here, you'll see how many views she gets every day. Okay. Every day. All right. And her numbers are impressive, to say the very least. Her numbers are impressive. No question about it. I'm not going to argue against that. What I want you to do, though, if you go to Social Blade, I want you to scroll down here. You get this little graph situation here. Now, this graph right here is the monthly subscribers that are gained on her channel. That's not where we want to go today, though. What we want to do is scroll down even further to where it says monthly gained views on CandaceOwens.com on her page. And I want to show you something. So if anybody ever says, well, you're just hating on her because she's getting all these views, I want you to go back and look at something. All right. We're going to start over here. And this is October 2022. And you can see right here, these views are not doing very well. They're not doing very well. Matter of fact, it's fair to say that they're almost skirting around the bottom, right? They're not very high. She's not getting a lot of views and anything of that nature. And we're just going to keep on trekking on by. We're in October 2023. Still pretty bad. And then all of a sudden, we get to February 2024, and look at what happens. She goes into the negative. She goes into the negative here on March 2024. And then some reason or another, somehow or another, she comes out in April, she's back in the positive, and then she goes off like a rocket. All right. Does anybody want to take a guess what happened in February or March of 2024? That's a great question, Witty Kitty. What happened there? And I had to do a little bit of research, but I can tell you what happened. Nope, not yet. Not yet. What happened in 2024 that caused all of this, that causes humongous decrease? Nope. Nope. Nope, not the Macron series. Nope, not yet. Oh, we'll talk about the Macron series in a second. Aha, there it is right there, Beth. She got fired. Well, it's moving too fast. She got fired from the Daily Wire. That's right. She got fired from the Daily Wire right around here. I don't know why, but once she got fired from the Daily Wire, she deleted almost 40 million views. She was getting about 1 million views a month. So that's almost 4 years worth of content that she just deleted or made. She deleted it. And she came out of the deleting that, and she lost her job at Daily Wire. She came out of it. I don't know, she setting up her studio or whatever that nature, but then she went completely and totally scorched earth, if you will, threw all of her chips, bet on black, and she started the Kamala Harris series. Maybe they did. Maybe her videos belong to the Daily Wire. That could be possible. It's very possible. And then she went completely and totally in on Kamala Harris. And guess where? And look what happened from there. We're going into the election cycle, all that kind of good jazz like that. The election, of course, comes and goes. And guess what she started right around here? September 2024. You can go ahead and put it in there. What did she start toying around with? Right around there. Y'all have already said it. I see it right there. The Macrons. So she starts toying with the Macrons around September or so. Because remember, she got the big, and of course, she got the big boost because she had the Kamala Harris series as well as the Macron series and the election results. All right. So, but right here, this is also when the Macrons sent the infamous retraction letters and asked her to stop. And so that's why she never dipped down from there, because she's always been up. So she's getting somewhere in excess of about 60 million views a month off of the Macrons, just chugging along, chugging along, chugging along. Anybody want to take a guess what happened right here at the end? Yeah, I think we all know what it is. We know what it is. It's the Charlie Kirk murder. And it's taken her through the stratosphere. So everything from that Kamala Harris, from leaving the Daily Wire, I guess deleting or giving up Daily Wire content, going into Kamala Harris and that expose on Kamala Harris, transitioning from the expose on Kamala Harris into the election, transitioning from there into the Macron series, and she's been riding that Macron series for a hot minute, right? And then going right into Charlie Kirk. I mean, I respect her hustle. I ain't gonna lie. You'll not hear me detract from that at all. But I just wanted y'all to see that, so you can see now why she probably does some of the things she does. Now, I can tell you right now, these numbers are not always true. But if you go to Social Blade, it gives you a roundabout Social Blade idea of how much your content creator of choice is making every day. I'm just going to leave that number right there and let you see it. It's not always right. It's within the ballpark. Sometimes it's in the parking lot of the ballpark, but that looks like it could be right. I mean, today she got 5.4 million views and she didn't even put a video up. 5.4 million views. That's what some content creators get in 2 years. She got that on today and she didn't even put a video up. She got 6 million views yesterday. And as y'all said already, she wasn't even talking about anything. So just something to think about. Just wanted y'all to see that and understand why when people accuse content creators of doing it just for the clicks, we can look at Candace. We know she's doing it for the clicks. I mean, it's quite a bit. This is truly speculative because on my side, on Social Blade's side, they have no way of knowing how much YouTube gives you for each video and each genre of video. So you got your live stream revenue, you got your short form revenue, you got your videos on demand or regular video revenue. And there's no way that Social Blade doesn't know what those numbers are because they change on a regular basis, kind of like almost like a stock market. It changes a lot. There's a lot of fluctuation. So they're just kind of speculating. And so that being the case, it's hard to say. I don't think these numbers, that's why I say I know these numbers are not right on the money, but they give you a good idea. They give you a good idea. So I hope that made sense. Yeah, and then of course, and they have no way of even knowing about sponsors and merch sales, super chats, memberships, none of that stuff. So Social Blade knows none of that. So that could be as little as 2% or as much as 100% of your revenue right there that they don't even have access to. So there's no way for them to know it. It's all speculative. But if this is just they're saying, hey, if this is just regular form videos, this is roundabout how much they're making. And that's fair. So I just wanted y'all to see that. Good stuff going on in this chat. Thank y'all so much. Hillary says this, imagine some woman out here talking about your deceased husband on the daily. I'd be furious. I agree. And I mean, Juju B, I can't argue because she is using Charlie though. The rest, they can defend themselves or speak for themselves, but Charlie can't, and that's correct. Hey, thank you so very much, Beth, for the $5 super. Coffee for Tina. Well, thank you so much, Beth. I appreciate it. Very kind of you. Thank you for supporting us. Absolutely. Okay. I see some good conversation. Always good. Yeah, I mean, what does it say? Jean Lee, thanks so much. Jason, I know you won't, but there are a lot of YouTubers that are stooping rather to her level to get clicks. I stopped following them. I'm praying or not. I don't want to. I don't want to sensationalize it because I do believe that justice needs to be served for Charlie Kirk, Erica Kurt, and the TPUSA family. And I don't even understand personally. I can't comprehend what's the big rush to find, theories and speculations only to muddy the water. What's the purpose of that? And as I said earlier, there are some big cases that have not had this much controversy. Big giant cases that have had this much, again, crazy theories that have come up out of it, and have literally shifted the way the conversation goes, or they're shifted. Like, that's crazy, man. That people are attacking TPUSA because of these crazy theories from Candace. I just can't wrap my mind around that. Oh my goodness, the trial. We'll do that. Somebody said a watch party for the trial. Absolutely. The crazy thing is the time. Because wait, Utah is 3 hours behind Atlanta, 4 hours behind Atlanta. So we'd be starting like noon or something, depending on when they had it. Right? What time is it in Utah? How many hours behind? I'm not looking it up right now. Sorry. Oh, I'll do that because I like law. Well, hold on. We got to double check. We got to check. Does Utah allow cameras in their courtrooms? That's what we got to find out. Okay, what time is it in Utah? All right, so Utah is 5 o'clock. Really? So they're 2 hours behind Georgia. Really? How's that? Really? Okay. I might need to go back to civics class, y'all. Geography is hard. Okay, so they're 2 hours behind. Okay, that's not that bad. I can rock with that. Okay, now I need to ask my office assistant, does Utah allow cameras in the courtroom? If I could spell room, it'd be. All right, let's see what we got. Yes, but under quite strict rules and is subject to the judge's control. Okay, so it looks like they're like Georgia. They have to do it, but the judge has a little bit of leeway on how much. Oh, no, the judge can. Okay, so yeah. Utah does. So if they want to, they can allow the Tyler Robinson trial to be broadcast. There we go. I didn't realize that. I need to look at where Utah is on the map. Maybe I don't know where Utah is. Let me look that up too. Because we're doing this on the fly, y'all. Show me. Yeah, I had that totally wrong. I had no idea. I'm sorry. I had Utah on the Pacific coast. I'm sorry. Yeah, I have no idea where I was thinking. It looks like a nice state, though. Shout out to Utah. Yeah, I had that totally wrong. You think he'll plead out, really? Oh, no, this will be bigger than the OJ trial for sure. And Betsy lives in Utah, so we're gonna roll out there. She gonna get the B adjacent people to give us a welcome party, provide us an Airbnb. Yeah, man. Just make sure you delete your social, y'all. Make sure you delete your socials. Brian, thank you for the $5. So he says, ironic that Candace was so anti-slap and then she fell into Marone's trap and got sued. Bada boom, bada bing. We're going to do a road trip. Well, now that I know it's not as far as I thought it was, hey. Maybe I was thinking, I don't know what, I was thinking Utah was near Portland. I have no idea. Looking at this map, I'm like, what was I thinking? What's going on, Miss Mandy in the building? Thank you so much for rolling through with us for sure. We do a little road trip, roll by, pick you up, swing on by. We're going to stop in Utah, check out what's going on over there. All right, so if you didn't know, down in the description of the video, I did earlier go over the indictment against Tyler Robinson. It looks pretty good. It definitely looks like what we've heard. Let me say it like that. Maybe I should say it like that. It looks like what we've heard. So I'll just bring it in real quick. And I did leave the link to this down in the description. So please check that out. Give it a thorough once over and keep up with it because I'm sure it'll be adjusted and amended. Maybe let me make sure I download it now. Because they be amending that stuff and then it don't. Then you don't have the original copy. So there's that. We also went over, I thought it was very interesting, the video Becoming Candace by Filibusted. Very interesting website. I had not heard of them before, but Filibusted did a video called Becoming Candace. And I thought it was a good high yield or highbrow telling her who Candace Owens is. And I want to make sure I drop that link in the chat as well. And I will try to remember to put it in the description when we get done here. I mean, if somebody asked about a journalism insurance, there is a YouTube content creator. There's a social media insurance. There is. It's a little bit pricey for these matters of getting sued over silliness and such like that. It's a little bit pricey, but it does allow you to have a little bit of peace of mind. So there it is. All right. Lots of good folk popping in. Thank y'all so much. Yeah, check it out. I want to, especially if you run across others. So I don't remember who told me about this one, but shout out to whomever it was that told me about it. It wasn't bad. I thought it was good. Thank you. All right, we got some good conversation going on. Yeah, and shout out to Miss Mandy. I think it's interesting that Candace said on Wednesday that they were begging her, they want her to come back. Her and Charlie are going to be reunited, right? She comes in on Thursday and she doesn't even address it. She doesn't even talk about it. She doesn't say where she got this information from. How does she know that Charlie told the donors and the Jewish rabbi and everybody at TPUSA that he was going to come off the top rope? Nobody else can confirm what she said. And she didn't even bring it back up. I think that's very problematic. But it's very similar to what she did with the letter. When he dropped that letter on Monday, she didn't talk about that letter. She didn't address the content of that letter. Not even a bit. I just think it's interesting that she has a propensity to kind of leave you on a cliffhanger and never address the cliffhanger in the next episode. It never. I just think that's interesting to me. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But I don't think I am. Good folk, thank y'all so much for rocking with me. So, shout out to Sarah Kelly. I have gotten an email about that. And what did Sarah Kelly say? Sarah Kelly said, did you hear Candace's cousin talking about her childhood? Sort of interesting. I have the email pertaining to that. It is, in fact, very interesting. I wanted to make sure that I had confirmed before I even brought it up. So I did. I don't remember who even sent it to me. I'm sorry. I'm just looking to see who it was that sent it to me. I think this is it. It might have been. Okay, yeah, I got it right here. I just want to read over it and make sure I have it right, because it's definitely interesting, to say the very least. But I want to just get another corroboration of it, because I don't want to do what Candace does and put something out there and not corroborate it and then be like, trust me, bro. So I don't want to, y'all don't want trust me, bro. So I don't want to do that to you. What do we have here? Is this Alex Jones talking about this? Shout out to Tina. Tina just sent me. Oh, we got Stephen Gardner. I like Stephen Gardner for sure. Okay, so real quick, Stephen Gardner also did a review of, kind of breakdown of what happened to Charlie. In the chat real quick, do y'all want to watch that? I'll gladly play it. I like Stephen Gardner. I think he's an excellent content creator. Okay. Do y'all want to watch it? Let me know. In the chat, let me know. Yeah, that was just weird. Her mentioning she and Tucker taking over TPUSA. Yeah, I don't get what that was about. All right, so Team Stephen. Okay, clearly these people like Stephen Gardner. All right, that's fine. Y'all don't like him more than me, though. Just make sure you don't like him more than me. That's all I want to make sure of. You can like Stephen Gardner. You can have a little thing for him, as long as I got your heart. Just don't let Stephen Gardner run away with you. Okay, I like him. He's a good content creator. I just like his work ethic. That dude works hard, man. I love when people work hard and they leave you breadcrumbs so you know how to do it. Real quick, oh, shoot, I want to make sure I didn't just lose audio. I'm going to bring this in. Green hearts in the chat that you can hear. Real quick, let me know you can hear. Okay, I knew something was wrong. I knew it. Okay, let me redo that. Okay. I'm back. Okay, I'm gonna try again. All right, we're gonna do this again. And I'll back it up, but just let me know you can hear. You can't hear him again.
As you know, I've stayed away from the big conspiracy stories. Some of you blasted me for not going over them, and now they've been proven to be sexy and mysterious and sizzling, but completely false. So I am just trying to bring you the truth in between covering other big news stories.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so let me back it up a little bit. Let's check out what Stephen is saying. Thank you so very much for joining the Pod Squad, Tina. Thank you so very much with the five. Well, I'm sorry, right there, right here. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. Welcome. All right, let's go see what Stephen's talking about. Let's go, Steve.
I have new details on the Charlie Kirk death that have not been reported anywhere as far as I know. I've been doing a deep dive and I want to go through that information with you. Like Candace Owens, I've been digging in with witnesses, my contacts, and people close to Charlie Kirk that I know have these details. Yesterday, I shared exclusive details with my audience on Lance Twigg, the furry boyfriend. Go back and check that out if you didn't see it. Today, I'll go through all I've gathered on Charlie's death. Some of it never shared before, but right from the mouth of people I knew would have answers. Please make sure to like and share this, because there's millions of people out there that are going to want to know these answers. As you know, I've stayed away from the big conspiracy stories. Some of you blasted me for not going over them, and now they've been proven to be sexy and mysterious and sizzling, but completely false. So I am just trying to bring you the truth in between covering other big news stories. Now, Chris Martenson, who's been on the show before for the Trump Butler shooting, did an excellent analysis. In it, he said that Charlie Kirk is definitely shot from the front, and if only he knew where the injury began, it would help with his analysis. I now have that answer. I hope this will get to Chris Martenson. I've also invited him to come back, and I hope he'll take me up on that. Okay, here's what I've gathered. The injury to Charlie Kirk's neck starts at the C2 neck vertebrae. Now, many have been trying to guess based on the bullet hole where that was. Now, I've been able to speak with several people that are connected to law enforcement, connected to the state of Utah, connected to Turning Point USA. So here's what I've gathered. The bullet crashed through C2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Sadly, completely destroying Charlie Kirk's spinal cord. This is what made him tense up. This is what made his heart stop beating, and why gushes of blood versus squirts of blood were coming out of him. The doctor found the main portion of the bullet near his T1 thoracic vertebrae, so near the spine, down where the neck vertebrae connect to the upper back vertebrae. Now, this person that I spoke with did not know whether the bullet was a 30-06. That was not shared. They just referenced it as a bullet. Also, near T1, but not next to the bullet, were multiple fragments of the bullet. Now, a full metal jacket 30-06 round would have gone right through Charlie, would have gone right through the bone of Charlie. A soft point 30-06 would likely have mushroomed, but caused massive amounts of damage, which we didn't see. We also know for a fact no bullet left his body. There was no blood spray, no blood spatter, and no hole in the banner behind him. Now we are believing that the bullet, a 30-06, because of the gun that was found in the backwoods near somebody's chicken coop. So that gun had a spent casing of a 30-06, but we don't know with 100% certainty that the bullet that was in that casing is the bullet in Charlie Kirk's neck. Okay. So it was not ejected. So if this was some kind of patsy or setup, that bullet could have been fired, or it could have been fired somewhere else. And all we know is that there is a casing inside of that gun. And now we're getting reports that it may not be a 30-06 bullet that was found in his body. So the likelihood that it is a 30-06 that even after smashing through his neck didn't come out the back end is very, very, very unlikely. Okay, we know from past Turning Point events that typically 5 4K HD cameras are part of the setup when they go live. On this particular day, they did not go live on their YouTube channel. That shouldn't make anyone suspicious. It was just a business decision. However, what we do know is that there were at least 3 Turning Point cameras pointed right at Charlie Kirk's body. One from behind to the side, and then one in the front to his side. Now, I was told all of that footage has been turned over from Turning Point to the FBI. They no longer have that footage. They're not sharing it with anyone. They didn't make copies, and they did not allow me to see the footage. Everything has been handed over to the FBI.
Okay, but
However, the person I spoke with confirmed this.
All right, so let me ask a question. Did they share it with anybody? Did anybody who had it, because allegedly this person just had it at his crib. So is it possible that this person actually saw it? Did she see it? Sorry. Did she see it? Or did she? Because she said later on that she hadn't seen it. That's all I'm wondering. And yeah, she said she's going to put pressure on TPUSA to show her the footage. Okie dokie. Just wondering. Sorry about that.
To me and said that the cameras were all filming in 4K. This means that everything you and I saw on blurry videos, grainy videos, zoomed in videos, videos that lost their quality or were screen shares or screen shares of screen shares, that is not what the FBI is looking at. They have 4K of the situation. So I was told this footage will be used because of the high quality 4K in the upcoming trial against Tyler Robinson. It shows the murder, death, and the bodily damage. So that footage is not going to likely ever be shown to the public. I hate to be the one to tell you this. Even if it's shown in court, where we're now learning it's going to be a public open trial, they likely will not show that on national television because of the extreme amount of blood, gore, and how gruesome it is. But I wanted to let you guys know it was confirmed, it captured in 4K, and it was released to the FBI.
Wow.
Now, on the topic of footage, remember how a Turning Point employee showed Candace Owens the footage? That footage may or may not be allowed in the court case.
Oops.
However, there were two others that were not shown that I believe will be a part of the court case. Now, I was told this particular Turning Point USA employee is extremely loyal to Charlie Kirk, a friend, someone who has worked for Turning Point for many, many years. So I'm saddened that Candace Owens brought up his name, led a lot of people to have suspicious, malicious feelings towards him. Now, I know she wasn't the only one, but Candace needs to be very careful because this person who she called a friend, a past acquaintance over and over again, is now receiving death threats, is afraid for his life and his family. And the FBI has cleared him. And the footage that he grabbed was turned over to the FBI. So my point in saying all of this is we all have to be really careful. A lot of people are putting out videos directly accusing people of being guilty. And now when they're found to not be guilty, it's putting their life in danger. So
yeah, let's just, shout out to, I agree with Stephen 100% about that. We cannot do that. And hopefully we all see the problem with that. And maybe she does need a gag order. She's going to keep talking. Though. We know that. She's going to keep talking. I don't remember her saying his name, but maybe she did, maybe she didn't. I don't know. But I'm sure somebody probably saw it because, we saw the video of the guy. But at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, I think we as sound, sensible people that want truth to prevail and want justice for Charlie Kirk and his family, we shouldn't engage in just throwing people's names out there like Candace does. Now, I'm still challenging. I don't believe Candace actually saw the video because what Stephen Gardner describes here is not what Candace described. Candace said there was no blood. He said there's lots of blood. There's not a little middle ground between that. So if she says she saw it and there was no blood, and he said that it was confirmed that it's too gruesome to show and they're not going to show it on national television, I still don't believe that she saw it. I believe she might have asked that man for it. She might have begged that man for it. And that man might have said, no, I don't think I just don't work with that. But let us keep going. Let's roll.
I also asked about the FBI. I was told that the FBI is in regular communication with Erica Kirk, but not necessarily always in communication with Turning Point, since no one at Turning Point is familially related to Charlie Kirk. Now, whenever there is a question or doubt or a point that needs clarification, the FBI will reach out to Turning Point and get the answer from whoever they believe has the best answer. Now, the FBI is supposedly doing their best, and we're the ones that are being impatient. We're the ones demanding that they release this footage to us, footage showing the shot, footage showing Tyler Robinson or whoever jumping up and running across the roof. Why were we given blurry photos of somebody entering the tunnel? I went back through my phone when I went to UVU campus and walked the entire crime scene. Those are new cameras. They should be HD quality. So why were we given blurry, grainy photos, and only when the person is kind of looking down to the side? Now, again, maybe they were nervous, the FBI, maybe they were nervous about putting somebody's face out there and having what has now happened to this Turning Point USA employee. So there could be reason behind that. But there's also this idea that, is Kash Patel bungling this on purpose, or is somebody trying to set him up? I want to share with you a clip from Alex Jones with lawyer Ivan Raiklin, a former Green Beret, who breaks down what he believes is going on. Let me bring that up to the screen.
I know there's Trantifa. I know a whole bunch of these attacks have been them. And so, and I know this DOJ is not as corrupt. And, I don't think willing to do big false flags, but maybe I'm wrong, or maybe components in it. You could have another group piggybacking on top the Trantifa, at least 6 of them the days before saying he'll be dead in 2 days, he'll be dead tomorrow, then bragging, see, I told you. You got this Zen character that, is at all these key events as a government operative on record, getting arrested so the bad guy could get away. I mean, this insane he did. And then you've got all of it. And then, Candace, I mean, literally within days, it's like Israel, because he criticized Israel. Well, a bunch of people did, including myself on a lot of issues. So you bringing up Candace Owens, I have been just absolutely attacked for saying, where's the proof? We don't even know what happened. I've got every military guy, Green Beret, Delta Force, Army Ranger, Navy SEAL, sniper experts. Everybody says, and security experts, look at this and the behavior of the security team. I'm not accusing people that I believe that knew Charlie forever as being something weird, but they are all watching him. It's like they all tense up. You have the trans shooter question, like it's a cue. And then you've got them all like it's a football play, racing and doing things that security people said they would never do, but it's obviously trained and something's happening, picking up things off the ground and things. So, I mean, instantly. So I see preparation. I don't see deer in the headlights here. And that's what the Delta Force guys have said. That's what they've all said. So what are you seeing here? And why are you saying you think Candace will come up with whatever the best, or are you saying she'll come up with the right theory?
Yeah, so the first part is I think it's putting the cart before the horse when you try to go after motive, right? There's a lot of people out there with a motive to potentially do this to Charlie Kirk, but you can't really, there's too many hypotheses out there when it comes to motive. You can't get there until you find out who actually pulled the trigger and then look at the analysis of who they're connected to, the financials, the relationships, the communications, right? Let's first figure out who actually shot him beyond a reasonable doubt. And then we can start working that motive component and then lay blame, if it was a broader operation. The reason why I say Candace Owens is because out of those with if you take a Venn diagram, who has the most connections of the Charlie Kirk ecosystem, one, who has the biggest platform, and then who has the biggest trust level within those several spheres that whistleblowers and insiders will then be comfortable providing the information to. And my analysis tells me that Candace Owens, if she's operating in good faith, will likely be the repository of all data points, videos, and evidence, and insiders and those people that she knows over years.
I
of
totally
working with
agree.
Turning Point.
Okay, I gotta look. I know these guys are way smarter than me, but you gotta that is a weak argument. That is a weak sauce argument. Candace has burned her. Candace has sullied her reputation with the BLM expose, with the Kamala Harris expose, with the Macron expose. No, nobody's trusting her. No. I'm sorry, sir. Maybe he's thinking about Candace Owens back when she was on the Daily Wire or something. But no, sir, she's not seen like that. And there are tons of people who've voiced their concern from TPUSA. They're not, no, this is not a repository. She's a repository for tinfoil. Everybody's sending her their used tinfoil and aluminum foil. That's what it is. But no, not as a trusted voice. No, sir, you missed that one for sure. That was a dud. I'm sorry. No way in the world. And I'm not saying that because I don't like Candace, but she's not trusted like that. No. And I mean, let's go.
I think
To
she has
provide her the
integrity
information
overall.
so she has the entire panoply of evidence to then come to a logical hypothesis. Of
I just hope she doesn't come up with her hypothesis off of wanting to put motive first or who's behind it.
Right. That's why I mentioned that first. Exactly.
Yeah, because, I mean, sure.
Okay, they make a great point, and I completely agree. I believe for the most part, Candace Owens has been doing great investigative journalist work. I believe a lot of people trust her. I believe she is going to be a repository to counter whatever we see in the trial. I completely agree with that. At the same time, is she sometimes looking for somebody and then trying to build the story versus just looking at the story and seeing who it points to? Now they're going to talk about the FBI connection. Hey friends, it's Stephen Gardner here, and today I want to tell you about something really exciting. I've just partnered with Monetary Gold, one of the top names.
Okay, I gotta disagree with Stephen Gardner. I know I said I believe he's a good YouTuber. I believe he's a great content creator. I disagree with him 1,000% about maybe he hasn't been watching what has been going on as it relates to Candace. And maybe he's just going off of, her old record or whatnot like that. But I can't believe you've watched what she's been doing to Charlie Kirk and in this event and say that that's journalism, that it's trusted, that it's credible. I'm sorry, Stephen. This video is 1 day old. He just dropped it yesterday. I disagree with Stephen Gardner. Yeah, that was I'm sorry, brother. You know what? We'll just file this under we're listening to contrary voices. I want to make sure I'm giving space to people that I disagree with, because I disagree now with Stephen Gardner. That is not, if you can watch what she did literally that Thursday, Friday after Charlie Kirk was murdered and tell me that she is a trusted voice and she's just going after the story. If you can look at that and tell me that, if you can hear the story about the Ninja Turtles and the Polish bees and the such of that nature and tell me that that's what you think is faithful journalism, okay, then you can try your best, but that one just, nah. I'm gonna still let them play it out because I want to be fair, but that is not what we're watching. Let's go.
2.5 million people in the last election conservatively to vote Republican. It was expanding. Soros and them are really pissed. The left was calling for its death everywhere. They celebrated it. And so, I'm like, okay, official story. Let's see. And then it starts unraveling. So I said, okay, looks like I don't really see evidence of false flag. If I do, I'll see within a few days. Well, we got questions. Oh, 30-6. Wow, the bullet was found. We basically broke that news. And I said, I don't believe it. Then I get a call from their spokesperson that was there saying, okay, well, I didn't give you the full report. This is how it actually happened, trying to explain it. And he sounded reasonable, but boy, they sure called him within 45 minutes Saturday night, 2 Saturdays ago. It was very interesting. And all of it. And so I just can't say Israel, but I do see, I see DNC, RNC wanting to take over his organization, not the RNC itself, but some subgroup. So I see D as culprits. If it wasn't a lone,
You have the same rotten scum that was in place at the DOJ, the FBI, our federal law enforcement entities, and even at the state level that were involved at a minimum the cover up for the attempted assassinations of Trump. Those same individuals are still in place because Cash, Dan, and Pam, they haven't removed most of them. So they're the ones that are potentially also muddying the investigation to make Cash look like a complete buffoon.
Okay, they make a great point there, right? The very people that were a part of the Russia collusion, the 2020 election, the attempted assassinations on President Trump, those people are still in place. So Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, they need to be careful because there could be an operation within the FBI to look like this Charlie Kirk investigation is being handled so that the president and Kash Patel, friends of Charlie Kirk, can say that this was done 100% correct. There could also be people working to make them look bad.
You're absolutely right. And in closing, that's exactly what Kyle Seraphin has been saying. We need to get him on tomorrow, by the way. That he predicted all. They are sabotaging them to make them look like buffoons from within, and you have all these little subsections that would be able to do this, interlace with intelligence agencies, and then they would put a bunch of, they would give them disinfo to actually then have it unravel and create all this. And looking at Butler briefly, I've looked at the ballistics, had experts on, people who are on the ground. Feds came and threatened them not to investigate, Hagman and others. Clearly somebody off by the water tower in the woods is shooting. You see the trajectory of the bullet, hitting bags, hitting people. So they were piggybacking on top of Crooks, and when Crooks failed, they came into action. So exactly, past behavior by the deep state is indicative of the future behavior. I totally agree that bare minimum, they were piggybacking.
What?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, that this current leadership in the DOJ is not serious about cleaning house and doing President Trump's mandate, which means they're not doing our mandate. And it is incumbent on us to identify them down to the individual. So if you want to research, folks that are out there, start scrutinizing every single person from top down at the Department of Justice and explaining in detail why they must be removed. And that's what I'm going to be focusing my efforts on.
All right. Interesting stuff, in my opinion. I hope you found that interesting as well. Are Kash and Dan Bongino being set up? Are there people below them running this investigation that maybe didn't like Charlie Kirk? Maybe we're not getting the full truth. Or has this just moved from crime scene to conviction and it'll come out in the trial? I don't really know, but I do want to get to the bottom of this. And so let me continue with the information that I got for you guys. All right, now there's a lot of people questioning whether there was an autopsy or a coroner's report. Somebody put out a dispatch saying there was no autopsy. That's now being questioned as, was it earlier in the day? Was that AI? I have it on very good authority that there is a 100% chance that there was an autopsy or coroner's report and lots of photos of Charlie Kirk's body taken. It was explained to me that it is Utah law that an autopsy must be performed in the event of a homicide. It doesn't matter whether Erica Kirk wanted one or doesn't want one, or Charlie Kirk's parents didn't want one. It doesn't matter because now it's the state of Utah versus Tyler Robinson. So based on the law and protocol for homicide in Utah, there is a 100% chance that there was an autopsy, and that audio we are hearing is either fake or more likely happened earlier in the day. So there was definitely an autopsy, and I'm going to show you a clip here in a minute, and then Lauren, the mortician, is going to be coming on to my show. Now, think about this. That autopsy could have been done after that particular audio clip. It could have been done that night. It could have been done in the morning before J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk arrived. It could have been done in the middle of the night. The fact that they knew how damaged his neck and spine was, that his heart was stopped, that they found the bullet and multiple bullet fragments. You think that they just guessed that? That is the coroner report. That is the autopsy. So to start putting out doubt that they magically have all these details and that there was no autopsy is just disinformation. Now, listen to what Lauren the mortician had to say, and then she'll be on the show to go into greater detail.
Actually reached out to me privately. Actually, I don't think that's weird at all. Totally normal for them to reach out to me because this is wild. And they told me very clearly, yes, Charlie Kirk was autopsied as per homicide protocol, period, end of story. They didn't want their name out there because, let's be honest, they don't want to get dragged into internet chaos. But I trust this source. I verified it. And they told me very clearly, yes, Charlie Kirk was autopsied as per homicide protocol, period, end of story. They didn't want their name out there because, let's be honest, they don't want to get dragged into internet chaos. But I trust this source. I verified it myself, and it aligns with everything I know from working in this field. In a homicide, an autopsy isn't optional. Families can't say no, and video evidence doesn't replace forensic science.
I love that. Video evidence does not ever replace forensic science. So there was definitely an autopsy. That's how we know all of this information. Now, she'll be coming back on to my show. But the questions that linger for me is, was it really Tyler Robinson? Was it really that gun that they found in the woods? Or was it a more simple rifle, a less powerful rifle, like a .330 that definitely could have crashed into multiple vertebrae and shattered and still killed him? Also, was there a shot taken from somewhere else? I don't believe there were multiple shots, but that doesn't mean there wasn't multiple shooters. Chris Martin, Phil Lyman, others, they give very good information that that shot could have come from a different location. Now, the location they say, I believe, would have made the shooter vulnerable and likely had cameras on it. But there are some areas at UVU that are further back that I believe you could still have gotten a shot off from. So we know the spinal injury starts at C2, crashes down through C6. This causes the spasm from spinal cord damage, immediately kills the heart. The bullet is found near his back at T1, and the bullet is damaged and broken. Now, I'll continue to do deep research, work with my trusted sources to continue to keep you guys updated. If you didn't see the exclusive update in the first 5 minutes of my interview yesterday with Bianca de la Garza, go check that out. It's in the first 5 minutes. Also, if you didn't see my exclusive interview with Andrew Colvette, spokesman for Turning Point USA, I'm going to link that right here at the end of this video. If you found this helpful, give it a like. Please share it with family and friends. I spent a lot of time gathering this exclusive information for you. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay amazing, stay safe, and I will see you on the next video.
All right, appreciate you, Stephen Gardner. I think I like the information that he gave, for example, about the spinal injury, potentially what happened at UVU, and of course, Lorna, the mortician. But that bit about Alex Jones, I didn't need that at all. I'm sorry. I didn't, yeah, that was just a little bit, I don't think that was beneficial. I think it added a lot more confusion. So real quick, in the chat, I should make you know what? Let me stop saying that. I'm going to do it. I got a question for y'all. And then, okay. Thank y'all for liking the video, by the way. There's 245 likes. That's what we're talking about. Them likes is looking good, looking right. I love it. All right. All right, I got another video for y'all. All right, dropping the link right here. I want to hear what y'all think about it. Do y'all want to do this? Dropping a poll question right there. So Lauren, the mortician, is the video that Stephen Gardner just played, and it looks like a very informative. She does like she's kind of leaning heavy on the Halloween-ish theme, and the such like that, playing into the fact that she's a mortician. But do y'all want to watch that? Let me know. It's like 11 minutes, by the way, if anybody was wondering. It's not long. But y'all want to watch that? Okay. I don't know much about her, by the way. So let me real quick. I don't know anything about her. So if y'all don't want to watch it, it's perfectly fine to say no in the poll question. Okay. The overwhelming majority seem like they want to watch it. Let me get 50 votes. Let's get 50 votes in, and then we'll go from there. I got 32, so like 18 more people need to vote. I wouldn't, and if not, it's perfectly fine. Is it okay if you've seen it? Panda Lover 326. Is it worth watching? Be honest. I literally just pulled it up. Okay. All right, we got the voting is going on. Okay, most of y'all said y'all want to watch it, so I don't want to turn anybody off, but I would like to hear like from another perspective. So again, somebody that works in that field, I do think they add value that we might not get. And I don't think we have to make it a political discussion in order to learn something from it. So I'm going to go check it out. We're going to bring Lauren, the mortician, in as always, if you don't mind. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear. Let's roll.
Okay, so there's this audio clip making the rounds. Roll the clip.
Okay, can you just do a field clip documenting that? Back. So I did do the request. They emailed me back. He did not go in for an autopsy. The death certificate was signed by the doctor at the hospital. Oh, okay. Can you just do a field clip documenting that? I'm sorry, 10-9? Can you just add a step to the case documenting that there was no autopsy?
Where officers are saying Charlie Kirk did not go in for an autopsy, allegedly. And I'm sitting here like, excuse me? What? That is not normal. That is not normal protocol. That is not how any of this works. That's not how homicide investigations go at all. Now, this clip has gone completely viral. Like X, formerly Twitter, they're imploding over there. And I've been flooded with questions. Was there really no autopsy for Charlie Kirk? Could Erica Kirk have said no to an autopsy? And maybe the biggest one, what happened to Charlie Kirk's body after? Because people want to know, was Charlie Kirk already buried? Was he cremated? Or is his body being hidden away somewhere? Valid questions, honestly. So in today's video, we're going to break all of this down. We're going to talk about what that audio clip means, whether it's even possible to skip an autopsy in a murder, why the burial details are being kept so quiet, and what that says about how high-profile cases like this are really handled. Spoiler alert, there are a lot more questions here than there are answers, and I don't think people realize how weird this actually is. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Lauren, better known online as Lauren the Mortician. Yes, real mortician equals me. I've been around death my entire life. I don't know if I like that, but we're gonna go with it. And I've worked hundreds of calls involving the medical examiner's office. In fact, for years, I was a transporter. That's the person the funeral home sends out when there's a homicide, a self-unaliving, if you catch my drift there, thank you, YouTube guidelines, or any death under the medical examiner's jurisdiction. It's not like CSI, where the medical examiner shows up in a big white van with a jumpsuit. In real life, a lot of small towns, big towns, they have a contract with funeral homes. Think about it. Funeral homes already have the vehicles, the insurance, the cots, the equipment, and the staff on call. So we meet the medical examiner at the scene, help with placing the deceased into the body bag, and drive them to the medical examiner's office. That's literally my job. Done that job lots of times. And when I watched the footage from Utah of Kirk, his body, leaving the hospital, I instantly recognized what I was looking at. The funeral home minivan, the medical examiner following behind, escorting them to the office. This is my world. This is what I do. So when I tell you something about what's normal or not normal here, it's coming from real experience, my experiences. I'm not just some YouTuber taking clips from other people to then make content. This is real experiences right here. Real experiences are us. So let's start with the audio itself. This was technically presented to us as dispatch chatter. If you listen closely, basically, if you don't know what dispatch chatter is, it's officers relaying information back and forth. And the line that caught everyone's attention was, he did not go in for an autopsy. Death certificate was signed at the hospital. Now, if that's true, it would be massive, because skipping an autopsy in a homicide case is not just unusual, it's virtually unheard of. Homicides almost always get autopsied. That's how you build a criminal case. You need the bullet trajectory. You need the wound documentation. You need the recovered projectile for ballistics. Without that, what do you even hand to a jury? Just vibes? Here's the thing though, we have to talk about what dispatch audio actually is. Really quickly. These are real-time notes and updates, not always complete, not always perfectly accurate. Sometimes what sounds like no autopsy can mean something else entirely, like the body wasn't being transported to the state medical examiner at the moment, or that the hospital was handling initial steps before the medical examiner took over, or maybe they meant to say there was no autopsy at the hospital, because yes, sometimes hospitals do their own autopsies. And here's where it got even weirder though for me, because after I posted about this, someone from the Utah Office of the Medical Examiner actually reached out to me privately. Actually, I don't think that's weird at all. Totally normal for them to reach out to me, because this is wild. And they told me very clearly, yes, Charlie Kirk was autopsied as per homicide protocol, period, end of story. They didn't want their name out there because, let's be honest, they don't want to get dragged into internet chaos, but I trust this source. I verified it myself, and it aligns with everything I know from working in this field. In a homicide, an autopsy isn't optional. Families can't say no, and video evidence doesn't replace forensic science. And that brings me to a question I've got non-stop. Well, didn't Erica Kirk not want an autopsy? You guys, it doesn't matter. She doesn't get that choice. Nobody does in a homicide. I don't care who you are. Think about it. I'm sure Jackie Kennedy did not want John F. Kennedy cut open either. She had just watched the unthinkable happen right in front of her. She was devastated. She was angry. She was traumatized. Of course, she would have said no if it was up to her, but it wasn't up to her, because an autopsy is evidence. We're talking bullet trajectory. We're talking wound track. We're talking recovery of the projectile for ballistics. All of that is needed to build a criminal case that can hold up in court. So no, Erica Kirk not wanting an autopsy, if that's even true, doesn't matter. That's not how the law works. The medical examiner decides, not the spouse, period. And then there's another question I've gotten. Well, we all saw him die on video. Why do we really need an autopsy? I mean, we've all seen the clip, right? You're traumatized like me, right? So video shows us what happened, sure, but it doesn't give investigators the scientific evidence. An autopsy documents everything: the entry wound, the path, the internal damage, the bullet itself. It's not about proving he's dead. We saw all of that. It's about proving it in a way that a jury can't argue with. That's why even the most public assassinations, JFK, RFK, still had full autopsies. So if I trust my source, and I do, the truth is that an autopsy was done, which means that viral audio that made its way around the internet, it was either misinterpreted, incomplete, or totally fake AI nonsense that somebody just made up to create chaos. And did they succeed? And here's where things spiral.
Okay, so I want to stop for a second because, shout out. Hey, apart from the music, the creepy music in the background, I think she's right on the money. And this is very, very helpful. Why would there not have been an autopsy? This is such a weird, if people really step back from it and step back and think, why would there not have been an autopsy? That makes no sense. What would be the purpose of that? So, shout out to her. Again, I don't know her. I'm not vouching for anything else that she's done. I'm only vouching for this one video, and that's it. But shout out whoever, wherever we got this from. Shout out for sure.
Because while all this was happening, I started seeing even more screenshots of fake messages, fake conversations, even AI generated evidence, making it look like there was no autopsy of Charlie Kirk. So somebody is actively trying to muddy the waters, dare I say it? And that is terrifying because it's not just misinformation anymore, it's manufactured disinformation. And honestly, this is why people don't trust the system, because the ME offices, the police, the officials, they all see this stuff as going viral. They know, trust me, the death care field is a tiny world. We all know each other. Medical examiners, funeral homes, transporters, or somebody knows somebody, and we all talk. So I don't doubt for a second that they have seen the Candace Owens clips, the dispatch audio, the fake dispatch audio that I just played for you, and the fake screenshots. They know, and they've chosen not to say anything. They see your conversations. They know that this is viral talk right now. This dispatch audio. All it would take is one press conference, one public statement to clear it up. And they don't. They've chosen not to say anything, and that makes it even weirder. And hey, Candace, if you ever need a death professional to fact check your receipts, I got your back. Call me. I'm just over here in my own little death world. But for real, this is what frustrates me. Silence in the face of viral chaos just makes people trust less. A one-line statement could squash all of this, and instead, nothing. I mean, they've had days. I am late to report on this. I am late to talk on this. If you search the YouTube right now, if you go on X, this is all over. Now, let's pivot to the other big mystery right now. What happened to Charlie Kirk's body? Because whether he was buried, cremated, or placed somewhere privately, we still haven't had a single confirmation. Are we owed that as the public? Technically not. But because this is such a public case, that information would be nice to know, and I think it would help some of these conspiracy rumors going around right now. Because what we don't know where he is now. Was he buried privately? Was Charlie Kirk cremated? Was the location intentionally undisclosed to protect it from vandalism? I mean, that's all possible. But in my professional opinion, whatever the decision was, buried or cremated, it would not surprise me if you can cremate someone. They could have cremated him in that casket after. But in my professional opinion, burial or cremation, it's already happened. It's already done. They just didn't tell us. Funeral homes don't just leave high-profile remains hanging around indefinitely. And you better believe his body was under constant watch until final disposition was carried out. If it was burial, it may be in an undisclosed location. If it was cremation, that's already done. Either way, the silence is fueling unrest, because in a case this public, you'd expect at least a simple statement. The family held a private burial, or he has been cremated according to the family's wishes. Instead, we get nothing. Nothing. So here's where that leaves us. The viral audio said no autopsy. A medical examiner, investigator confirmed to me privately that yes, an autopsy was performed. Meanwhile, AI fakery is being used to make it look like the opposite, and nobody in an official capacity is stepping in to clear the air. I'm not saying there's a cover-up, but I am saying, again, that this is not normal. This is not how public trust is built. And the longer the silence continues, the more people are going to fill that void with theories. So I'll be watching. I'll be watching. Always watching. Because this is my world. This is my lane. And I'll keep asking the hard questions, or at least call them out, until we get clarity. Families don't get to say no to autopsies and homicides. Video doesn't replace science. And silence, especially in the age of AI, only breeds speculation. So let me know below, you guys, what other rumors or questions you have in regards to this case. I will be looking through the comments. Again, I've gotten so many messages ever since this really began. So thank you for thinking of me and coming to me with those questions. It truly melts my heart that I am who you think of when you have a death-related question. And as always, like, comment, subscribe. It helps me keep the channel going. And we'll see you next time, or until the next AI craziness comes out. I really don't know. But thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Okay. Shout out to Lauren the Mortician. And she's done quite a few, as somebody just mentioned. She's done quite a few videos on Charlie. Okay. I'm going to drop the link to this video, and then you can peep the rest of what she's doing. Make sure I like that video, because that was pretty cool. That was good. Shout out to her. And I'm going to drop the link in the chat. I'm wondering, though, I'm just wondering, could they just come out and say, hey, we want to put and they don't have to say we're speaking directly to this, but just do a presser and just answer, say, hey, there was an autopsy. The family did decide to have a private funeral, funeralize him privately. You know, just put a quash to some of those rumors. I do think that would be helpful, because some of them are getting a little bit more traction. Like, why would they even think that there wasn't an autopsy? That's just such a weird, like, where do you even come with? I'm not saying go chasing after every one of them, because there are some wackadoodle things. Like, of course, the Ninja Turtles. You don't have to address the Ninja Turtles. You don't have to address the communist Polish beekeepers. You don't have to address that. But like the no autopsy, that's causing confusion. He was autopsied, and you could have the medical examiner explain. I think that wouldn't. I don't think that would be bad, in my opinion. The rumor mill will always keep lying, but at least it won't be lying because I didn't say anything. It's not. You can't stop them from lying, because then they're going to just be chasing their tails. But at least you can say, like, this is just silly, y'all. Like, let's be adults. There's always going to be an autopsy and a homicide. Boom, we're done. That's all I got to say. That's all I'm thinking. But I'm not saying that you're never going to be able to stop all of that anyway. So that is what it's. Oh my gosh, when is this? The Rubin Report? Yeah. But yeah, y'all, thank y'all so much, man. Y'all exposed me to some good content today. I did not have that planned. Did not have that on my bingo board. I did not. That's a good point. The Kurtz had a private wedding, so I mean they're not necessarily that out there like that. So it would make sense. It would be on brand, if you will. Man, can you imagine how many FOIAs they get in, though, Heather? The various and sundry people, man, our entities are probably getting mad FOIAs all over the place. Which, to the point, Realtor, why it seems really odd that a person that it doesn't seem like he was really connected to has all of this to say about him right now. Just seems very odd to me. So shout out and thank you very much, Bronx Girl again. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I worked in law many years, and there's a reason they do not talk. You do not give fodder for the defense to use. Okay, that's fine. Now, let me ask you this question. Thank you for the $5 super. Is saying Charlie Kirk had an autopsy, is that giving fodder? Now, I'm not saying chase every one of these crazy theories. We're not going there. But just the autopsy controversy. I don't know if that's a controversy. The autopsy dilemma, controversy, whatever, conspiracy. Is that giving fodder? I'm just being honest, not trying to push back. I just want to ask that question. And if you could just put question or answer or something, I just want to know, is that doing too much? Because to me, I think that would make sense. It's better to say nothing. Wow. Okay. I mean, I trust, I recognize that I don't know everything. I'm a pre-K law student. Y'all know that. Okay. I can rock with that. Yeah. Okay. I can get it. It's doing too much. I think I know what y'all talking about, but So yeah, hey man, that was good. Thank you so much for rocking with me, man. That was a lot of. There are too many rumors to dispel, and I'm just wondering, how many rumors could be put to rest if you say there was in fact an autopsy of Charlie Kirk and the family has chosen a private funeral, funeralize him privately, and then that's it. Literally a 2-minute press conference to just give an update on it. I just wonder to me, it seems like that would solve some problems, but I want to hear, I'm not saying that I'm the right person or anything of that nature. Let me see. Lots of people. Oh, y'all voted on this poll for sure. Okay. I appreciate it. Thank y'all so much. Who is the they? I was a 4.0 law student. You say nothing. Okay. Well, there we go. I submit to your 4.0 law school ism. Well, that's true. That is true. There's no lie there at all. Proverbs 31 girl. You're kind of right there for sure. It's not Elizabeth. And let me say why I say Candace is helping the defense. Candace is throwing out scenarios into the world right now that they won't be able to use in court. So she can say things. It's kind of like your friend that say, because you're a Christian, let me talk to him because I'm gonna use profanity or I'm gonna rough him up or I'm gonna do whatever. And you don't worry about this. Don't get your hands dirty. So it's almost like Candace is working for the defense to throw ideas and conspiracies out there like the autopsy that they're not going to use that in court, but it just casts doubt and gets people thinking that you might be lying to me. Is it possible you're lying to me? You might be lying to me. And the defense doesn't have to present it because Candace has already put it out there as a theory. The feds did it. The military did it. Israel did it. The Ninja Turtles did it. The beekeepers are doing it. All of these arguments, all of them are not Tyler Robinson is the person that they're charging. That's it. That's what I mean. Gabriel says this. Thank you, Gabriel, for the $5 super. This is another great live stream. Thank you for making good content, brother. Man, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I really do mean that. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it. I'm glad that y'all like tapping in and, I mean, doing these impromptu videos because I had a video I was going to show, but then we went into another direction and I'm glad y'all rock with me. So thank you so much. Jury nullification will be an issue. I don't think it's called nullification, but I think it's definitely, there's going to be a problem with the jury. I think. Because of all these conspiracies out there. And, hey, we are in a world of AI. Maybe there's going to be some AI interference in this as well. Just completely people throwing out crazy wackadoodle ideas and just muddying up the system with crazy theories like that. So it's very possible. All right. Lots of good conversation going on in the chat. Always appreciate it. This is what I think it is. I think she's trying to pollute the jury pool. Now, Proverbs 31 is not playing today. Nothing's weirder than a man allowing his wife to fawn over another man. You know what? And let me add this. A man to allow his wife to fawn over another man that passes away and her saying that she's going to deal with the fact that he passed away by going to go see another man. That's crazy work. And that makes no sense at all to me. But hey. Yeah, communist bees, leave the communist bees alone. They ain't bothering nobody. The communist bees are not bothering anybody. I got the bee emoji in the chat. Let me drop the bee emoji. Leave the bees alone. They ain't bothering nobody. Leave the bees alone. They out there just doing their thing, man. Leave them alone. They ain't bothering nobody. Tracy said, I hope a Zionist jury is picked for the Macron lawsuit. That's hilarious, and I think it's true. Ooh, Came My Way wants me to get in trouble today. Came My Way wants me to get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble today. I'm trying to stay out of trouble today. Good conversation going on. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying that there will be no way to have any jurors. I just think that they're going to have to, the juror questions are going to have to be changed. Do you listen to Candace Owens? How many hours do you spend on YouTube? You know, that kind of stuff. Those kind of questions probably pop up, but, you know. I tell the story when I was in college, my only time I've ever been called on jury duty. My wife, she's been called on jury duty like 3 times since we've been married. And one of them was like a big drug case. Anyway, I was on jury and I did not want to do it. And I knew, and I was really into talk radio when I was in college. I liked listening to conservative libertarian talk radio. That's why I was a libertarian. And so I heard one of my favorite hosts say that if you mention my name in jury, because he used to be an attorney, he said, if you mention my name in, if you're called to be a juror, they will not select you. And so I was called. I went to my jury pool and they asked me the question and I said, I listen to Neil Bortz. They asked some degree of like, what kind of music do you listen to? I don't know what the case was going to be about. I don't know how long it was. They asked us specifically, like, what do you listen to on the radio? What kind of music you listen to? And I said, I listen to this particular AM station. I like listening to Neil Bortz. And okay, thank you so much. Your Honor, we don't need this juror. And I bring that up because I think we are in the day and age now where they're going to be like, where do you get your news from? And do you listen to Candace Owens? I believe Candace Owens is an IQ test. I'm sorry. I do believe that. I believe she's an IQ test. And they're going to be like, if you follow Candace, we got to get you going. Now, I used to listen to Neil all the time. Oh, I used to listen to Neil so much. So, yep, shout out to the Talk Master. I think he still does talk. I still think he does. You've been permanently taken out of the jury pool. Now, I haven't. Now, let me see. It's probably been better than 15 years since my wife has been selected. She got called twice right when we got married. Right when we were when we were wee children. Oh yeah. Okay. I told y'all the other day, somebody asked me, what was it about my chin? I think I was joking about, I was on there we go. I was on A Righteous Perspective this morning. We were joking about having beards and shaving your hair off, your beard off or whatever. And somebody asked, I said, y'all don't want to see my chin. And somebody, I don't think, some reason or other, people thought like my chin is deformed or something. I have a normal chin. Nobody's ever seen it. So hold on one second. All right. So because y'all are rocking with me, let me see. I'll put on the side camera. That didn't work, right? Try it again, Jason. Bada boom. All right. All right. So I'll find a better picture, but there I am. Like I got a normal chin. I don't remember who it was, but somebody was like, what's wrong with your chin? I'm like, it's been covered for better than 10 years. So there's that guy right there with his baby face chin. So there it is. So shout out. That's only because y'all hung out with me this late. Y'all hung out with me this late. You get to see Jay Witt podcast with no hair on his face. Wait, what did Paul say? What did Paul say? Jay Witt, Candace said something different. So did she say something different about my chin? She said I got a mysterious chin. Doggone it, man. Oh, man. Now I gotta go delete all my social. Bronx Girl, thank you so much for the $5 super. Remember, the only thing that matters in court is evidence, not hearsay. This is the rule of law. The conspiracies do not matter. I agree. I'm not disagreeing. All I want to say is I think sometimes the conspiracies can shade the way that you see the evidence. That's all. So, like, for example, the bullet. If you find out that the bullet could be shot from that rifle, no problem. No, it matches the casing. Everything matches. You're still going to have somebody that's going to be like, well, what if it wasn't? I heard it was this, that, and the other, and that couldn't have been shot. They're still going to have that lie in the back of their head. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying that it could potentially become a problem. That's all I'm saying. I hope that makes sense. It is I don't know. Somebody was saying that they thought my chin was weird. It was on the chin. I know. We were joking about shaving our beards off because of the military. Because the military now is cracking down on beards on men. And I was like, I would probably just, I'm not interested in shaving. So it would have to be some major event for me to shave my beard off. So therefore, if I'm good with, I probably shouldn't be here. But I wouldn't have been there in the first place because I like the length of my beard and my beard can't be this long in the military to start with. I wouldn't have even been involved with y'all. So I wouldn't have been, I'm not here to change the program and stuff like that. So that was my thought. That was my argument. All right, lots of good conversation going on in the most electrifying live chat on the planet. Well, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Manners. I appreciate it. Yeah, okay, yeah. I don't believe there was ever an affair between Charlie and Candace. I believe, based upon my own information and belief, this is Jason's theory, Candace really wanted to be with Charlie, and she concocted and again, like they're in close proximity. What is it? The work wife type of scenario where she's just in close proximity, and eventually she might have just looked at him sideways and be like, "Man, I wouldn't mind being his wife." I'm not saying they engaged in anything inappropriate. All I'm saying is, I believe she might have saw him as her knight in shining armor and really thought that they've been building this thing, TPUSA. They've been building it. They've been building it together. They know each other and such like that. And I think she might have concocted this in her head. That's why she's so vitriolic toward Erica. That's my thought. Yeah, I don't think there was ever an affair. I don't believe that at all. And this is, and they mentioned this on, I want to say it was a Steven Crowder podcast, that there's so many theories and conspiracies out there that people are going to start shutting down, even believing the truth, because they don't know what to believe. And I've said this before. I'm like, Candace is throwing out so much foolishness. Again, blaming TPUSA. Remember, she said the military. Of course, the Jews are involved. The feds are involved. All the beekeepers, the Ninja Turtles. There's all of these crazy theories, and it's just making things confusing. And I'll just say this right now. Alex Jones, what they were talking about, man, that's uber confusing. I mean, you got that's a lot going on there. Yeah, I mean, you can't even be on social. I mean, who's not on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube? I mean, I dare say pretty much everybody is to some degree, shape, or form. So that they've all seen this. And that day, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, when it happened, I mean, that's all that was there. So, yeah, this is a very interesting scenario. And I think it's going to definitely be interesting how the jury is selected and all that kind of good jazz. So. Wait. I'm telling... That would be Candy, and be careful with your neck. No, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, Candy. I ain't got no time for you, Candispiracy. I really don't. All right, what we got here? I appreciate it. Yeah, and Wise, from a righteous perspective, is a Navy guy. So he was talking about that as well. We were just discussing. All right. Yeah, I totally believe that she concocted a love story in her mind, and it was supposed to go a certain direction. And, Erica Kurt steps in and ruins the whole thing. And Charlie goes for Erica. Now, granted, she was already with George. However, I think I did the video with Storytime. I'm not able to nail down exactly when Charlie Kurt met Erica and compare that to when Candace met George. There's like a 60-day window right in there. I don't know which one came first, chicken or egg. So lots of good conversation going on. I really appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. Nobody, you're wild. You're wild. Y'all are some funny people. I appreciate y'all. All right, good stuff going on. I'm just reading through these great comments. Thank you. So I don't know where frogs came in. Is somebody an deep sea underwater demolition? Because I see frogs have entered the chat. I don't know what happened there. Are they down there fighting the Ninja Turtles? I don't know. This is a very good point. Candace does seem to burn a lot of bridges. Judy makes an excellent point. To be able to believe the conspiracy theorists, you have to overlook a father turning his own son for murder. I don't believe he would do that if he had any doubt. I don't. There you go. I'm with you. I love it. What's going on here? What's going on? Nacho in the building. He says this: TP Action is doing just fine and focus on doing their job like normal. I can only assume TP USA is the same. I love it. Thank you so much. Lots of good conversation going on. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tapping in. All right, so let's do this. Y'all are not going to let that marriage go. Y'all are going to give Candace that business. They talked about when they met. I forgot who it was, but someone at TPUSA made a video on it. I think it was Andrew, but I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering. I don't know who met who first. Did Charlie meet Erica first, or did Candace meet George first. I know Candace married George first, but I don't know who met whom first, because I, in my theory, she was a woman scorned. Candy crossword? Really? That would be wild. Wait. I need to do Candy crossword puzzle next. Well, next week we're going to do Candaspiracy Jeopardy. And it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm not a big crossword puzzle person, but I guess I can make one. I don't think it'd probably be bad. But you would just play it by yourself. It's not like something you do interactive, like we got to watch something to play it. Because like yesterday when we did bingo, we were watching the video and doing our bingo boards. Like it would just be me making a crossword puzzle, right? Because I could do that, I think, if I'm understanding correctly. Ooh, Charlie and Erica met 2 months before Candace met George. Got you. That tells me all I need to know. Yeah, so, all right. It will, so y'all are into a crossword puzzle. Okay, I'll look into how to do a crossword puzzle, but it seemed like it'd just be something I'd send you a link and you just complete it. I like doing the interactive ones though. Like bingo. Bingo was crazy, man. Why did they ask her to resign? Which I think is an excellent question. Anti-Semitism and conspiracy theories. I think that would be an excellent question to ask. I'm glad you like bingo. Bingo was crazy. That was a lot of fun. I still haven't found a way to see everybody's bingo board, but I'm gonna have to just cross over that bridge and leave it alone. But I still think it was fun, so I'm glad y'all liked it. The plot thickens. Yeah, I mean, as I'm looking at Candace Owens Farmer and her behavior, it's giving that she was very, very into wanting to be in a relationship with Charlie Kirk, and things didn't work out. And she's just been bitter about it for 4 years because she's not been able to deal with that. And she keeps getting bounced from job to job to job to job. And now that she's her own entity, nobody can fire her. So that she can just let out all the vitriol flow. Now, I could be wrong, but explain to me what would be the rationale for attacking Charlie Kirk's widow and disparaging her if you're not, in fact, jealous of her position. Because, again, Erica Kirk is in a role inside the business that you helped start with Charlie. You helped him get it off the ground. And now his wife, who you don't think it should have been his wife, is running it. Am I crazy? No. It was a whim. I got that story. I don't have it queued up to play right now, but I do have that story. And it seemed more like they were going for a reason, but it was more of a last minute purchase of tickets, if I understood it correctly. So Charlie and Erica actually met first at an airport before they did their interview later on at TPUSA office after an event. Okay. And so again, how I'm seeing it in my head, in the theater of my mind, Candace and Charlie, they're thick as thieves. They're running around, jet setting, going all around. See my video about story time with Mr. Whitaker. However, Charlie sees Candace only as a coworker, somebody I'm working with, not a romantic partner in any way, shape, or form. Candace sees him as her knight in shining armor, her potential love interest in her mind. I don't think that they ever engaged in any kind of inappropriate relationship. So I continue. Charlie meets Erica at the airport or at the interview, and he's smitten. Like, man, I believe the quote is, I don't want her to work here because I want to marry her or I want to date her or something of that nature. So that completely wrecks this storybook ending, or the storybook relationship that Candace has concocted in her mind. It's only in her mind. So it's fan fiction. If you have children and they like fan fiction, you know what I'm talking about. I got theater kids and they love fan fiction. Well, let me ask you a question, Tina. I got a question for you. Who do you think she got that from? I'm not trying to be funny. Who do you think she got that from? She and I talk on the phone probably twice a day. We talked on the phone twice the day that she put that up there. Where do you think she got that from? I'm just saying. She's my girl. She know I love her. That's my girl. But where do you think she got that from? When you hear that crazy story, you're like, man, that sounded something crazy Jason would say. You're right. You're 100% correct. But let me continue. If you have a child that likes fan fiction, or you yourself likes fan fiction, where you create new stories from established stories. So there might be like Star Wars, and you add brand new characters, or you take Lord of the Rings and you add new scenarios and new situations. That's called fan fiction. And it's a whole genre of writing, a whole genre of, some of them are turned into movies. But I digress. But the idea is that you take something that's established and you build something new around it. I believe that's what Candace did. Her and Charlie were busy trying to build Turning Point, and she fan fictioned that they would be husband and wife, working together to do this thing called Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action, Turning Point Faith, Turning Point Mars, Turning Point Multiverse, whatever. And I think that's what happened. She fan fictioned herself into a trick bag, because once Charlie said, man, look at Erica, I'm smitten, it just destroyed everything about it. Now, I could be wrong. That's just my putting it together, looking at the situation and trying to make sense of it. But that's what I think happened. Okay, looking through here real quick. Shout out. Yeah, that's where she got it from. I'm telling you. I can show you the text messages. I can show you the Discord conversation. Look, April B, look, I'm gonna call her back. Girl, don't be stealing my content. Okay, this is a fantastic question. Rachel Burke, why is she holding a grudge still if you got a whole husband? Fantastic question. I, based upon information and belief, do believe that she holds grudges. And she's been collecting a lot of W's. So why should she not have what she wants? Even when she loses, it seems like she comes out smelling like roses, right? So why should she not get what she wants? And if George is just, if she's George's beard and George is her, front man, why should she not be allowed to, in this moment, lash out at the fact that Charlie's gone and his wife is running the ship that she thinks she should be running? Just my thought. Yeah, I'm just saying, that's just my thought. It's based upon information and belief. I have no evidence to that. But what evidence does Candace have about the Ninja Turtles or the bees or any of the other things that she said? You know what? I will show my receipts when Candace shows her receipts about the communist hexagonal beekeeper association that's adjacent to schools. When she shows that, then I will roll with it. Oh, you know what? I had a brand new Hold on real quick. Somebody said they really like this.
I don't know, but I know. You know? I don't know, but I know.
So they said, man, Jason, that was really funny. You should make one from here. I said, you know what? I got to do it. So ladies and gentlemen, here you go.
You don't get to ask those questions. What's wrong with you, Mom? Why are you so scared?
So the next time somebody asks me a question I don't want to answer, I'm going to say this.
You don't get to ask those questions. What's wrong with you, Mom? Why are you so scared?
That is ridiculous, man. What does Nacho say here? All right. This is hearsay, but what I heard was he asked her if she would interview for a job. She said, I hadn't thought about it, but sure. He approached her and she didn't apply. He then asked her out after 3 hours. Okay. That's consistent with what I heard as well. So I just think it's just interesting. So shout out for sure. Shout out. She got friend zoned. Well, there you go. That's it. I mean, she does have an imagination. Again, if you do any research on fan fiction, you will quickly say, you know what? When did I have this? Hold on. Because I had it for the day that I did story time with Mr. Whitaker. Where is it? Hold on one second. All right, I think I found it. All right, if I have it correctly. All right. Okay, this is what I have. Charlie met Erica. Her last name is Fraziv. In 2018, Candace meets George in 2018. Charlie and Erica had their first date in 2018 in September. George proposes to Candace in 2018 as well, December 29th to be exact. May 1st, 2019, Candace announced that she's stepping down from TPUSA. So to answer your question, somewhere in May 1st, that's when she announced it on, I think it was Instagram. Now, my thought is she became very cantankerous because not only was her viewpoints changing on Israel and conspiracy theories, but the man that she thought would be her husband is, dating somebody else. So she cops with this guy who maybe he did only want to marry her so he can get a green card. Maybe that was it. So maybe she's his beard and he's her green card or whatever. So all right, let me see what we got. Lots of good conversation. Y'all appreciate it. If this is a murder mystery, Candace would either be a suspect or the culprit. Absolutely. No, I agree, Rachel, but I also would do my very best by God's grace not to be in this situation where I'm over here making a complete and total fool of myself over, at my best friend's passing, acting like this. So I would hope that I would never be in that position, but Candace is here. That's her. That's April. That's my girl. Okay. I'm only using it in the very loose sense, but okay. I don't want to cause no stir. I ain't trying to cause no ruckus over here. Okay, what do we got? Okay. I'm going to get ready Timu Charlie is kind of crazy though. That does hit. That hits well. Well done, April. Well done. Okay. They say I gotta make a whole sandwich. Which meme? I've made several. I hate to say it. I've made several. We got the I don't know, I don't like questions, and then I got the you don't get to ask those questions. So which one do you want, Honey Bun Express? You know, you get to ask and you get them. Candace didn't join until much later after it started. She wasn't a founding member or Mason or whatever she said. Okay, then I stand corrected. Okay, the other meme. So you know what? We're just going to clear all the memes out. Let's go.
But I don't like little lies. When there is one lie, there's 20.
All right. And then, of course,
You don't get to ask those questions. What's wrong with you, Mom? Why are you so scared? I don't know, but I know. You know? I don't know, but I know.
I got, you know what? I just got to end. I got to clean the palate.
It's an evil world we live in.
There we go. Shout out to Future. There we go. Okay. Thank you so much, Cindy Lou Hoot. I love it. So the context is Candace was telling a story of how she was thinking about sending her children to a particular preschool and wanted to ask the school administration about their hiring practices. How do they select teachers at the school? And apparently, by her statement, based upon information and belief, the people say, why are you asking that question? You don't get to ask those questions, Mom. Why are you so scared? That's what she said. And then she just said, fine, I'll leave. And she never came back. That's how the story goes. But I don't think that story happened like that. But not like that, at least. Well, I don't want that to happen. I won't. Look, I'm going to use it sparingly. I don't want to scare you like that. Just a little, we'll use it sparingly. Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about, like fanfic. And you create this whole universe. Like my daughters love talking about this extended universe in their little book series that they read. And you would think these are books that are written. They're like, no, we just made it up. My second born just writes them. She writes it. And she just writes these elaborate tales that have nothing to do with the main story. They go off these little side quests and they are, 20 books in and it has made it all up. Yeah, I mean, she got friend zoned. Shelby, she's got friend zone. That's it. Well, thank you, love. I appreciate it. Whoa, hold on now. I wanted to turn it into an intervention up in here. Oh, of course they were getting too old to get married, to not be married. So let me see. Charlie Kirk was married for 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. And he's 31. So he got married around 27. I think I got married, my wife and I got married when I was 26 and 25, respectfully. So yeah, they probably were looking at like, we got to hurry up and get married and such like that. So that's probably what happened. I don't know. Is Candace, I don't know how old Candace is. So anyway, she's somewhere in the ballpark of that. So she probably was looking like, yeah, I need to get married. She didn't decide to do that on her own. She was given options and they chose to keep drama low and respectfully separate from each other professionally. Okay. I don't know I feel like I missed something, Nacho. I think she has one and he has a US. I'm not 100% certain, Little Bluebird. Lots of good conversation going on. Uh-oh. Came my way is just going to get me in trouble. I'm trying to save it. You're just going to get me in trouble, aren't you? Because I keep seeing you ask this question. I'm trying to ignore it. Okay, you know what? Let's go kick a beehive. I've made the point that I think we should really reconsider calling Candace a believer in Christ, a Christian. And I've said that multiple times. I make no shorts, no qualms about it. And a lot of people have said, well, part of the reason why Candace is so anti-Israel is because she's Catholic. And I never understood, like, well, what's Catholics' issues with Jews and Israel? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Well, I found somebody that explained it, and it makes a whole lot of sense. So I was going to save it for Sunday, but since Came My Way keeps bullying me, I think the only thing right is to go along with it. So let's bring this in. And it is a breakdown of this Jesuit order that Candace is actually a part of. She's not just a Catholic of Catholic's sake, but that she is it's an interesting mix. So let me bring it in. And this YouTuber, real quick, is called Nate. His name's Nate, just Nate. And he does a really good job breaking it down. So let me know what y'all think. Yeah, you bullied me. Y'all put K in the chat. Just put K in the chat because K bullied me. K bullied your boy. Y'all just let her know. We see you. You bullied Jay Witt. Let's go. Here it comes. Ladies and gentlemen, green hearts in the chat when you can hear. Oh, yeah, and put K in the chat, too.
I would literally rather saw off my own foot than support Israel ever again, by the way. Never supporting that demonic nation ever again. That's like, I am so off that train. It's crazy. I've learned way too much. Like you delivered in every way that you are supposed to deliver by just going full mask down. You don't get to ask those questions. What's wrong with you, Mom? Why are you so scared?
Do you find it oddly suspicious that Candace Owens seems to always speak against Israel, but never seems to speak against the dilemma of what Islam is causing in the Western world? Well, I think there's a great reason behind this, because if we actually take a little deeper dive into Candace Owens' life, she wasn't always a Roman Catholic, of course.
In my humble opinion, since her very ugly breakup with Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire, her entire agenda has been basically going to battle with the quote unquote, the Zionists. And I just think my question to her is, where do you want to go with all this? Because the whole thing where, the Zionists did it, the Jews control the media. Well, certain Jews control certain media companies. The way that I look at it is money and success is energy. Where do you put your energy? And if you would put your energy into something, you'll end up doing well in something, So, the blacks control the NBA. No, they're just really good at playing basketball and they're doing really well at that. Awesome.
I think this little segment right here was really worth the price of admission. And it applies in so many different areas. If you really apply yourself and really put your nose down and really get at it, you are going to probably be the top of your game in some field, whether it's turning a wrench in an auto mechanic sense, air conditioning, pilots, mom, dad, fill in the blank. If you really just focus and put all your energy into an area, you can become pretty good at it. And people will compensate you accordingly. I think he makes a great point. So I just want to pull this back just a little smidgen and let's keep it going.
Just really good at playing basketball and they're doing really well at that. Awesome. Indians control all the 7-Eleven. It's like, no, that they are entrepreneurs who end up finding a niche that they can excel in. Why aren't Jews dominating the NFL? Well, that's just not kind of how they're built. They've developed skills, especially Ashkenazi Jews, that has translated well over time into media, banking, creativity, what have you. Go do your research as to why. You can go back thousands of years to the beginning of banking and the Rothschilds family and usury and all that. So I'm not a fan of these racist all or nothing tropes. Well, it's all this. So the biggest thing with Candace is that more than anyone, she should understand how the concept of groupthink. She was the poster child for being a black female to say, yeah, I'm not just going to do lockstep with the Democratic Party. I'm an independent thinker. I'm going to do my own thing. That cuts across all races, ideology, what have you. Not all Jews do this. Not all blacks do this. Not all Indians do this. So she's falling into a very negative trap where she's just playing the blame game. And I want to see how ugly this can get for her.
She started off a few years ago. She said that she was like a liberal, and then basically she became like a Protestant Christian, and then she became a Roman Catholic. Now, the reason why this is very important, this specific transition, is because whenever we look at the history of Roman Catholicism, Roman Catholics actually hate Israel. And I know that sounds really crazy and far-fetched, and that's why I'm going to go into the history today so that we can go a little further into why I say that. But whenever we look at Candace Owens specifically, we have to reason why she is speaking against Israel. The reason why she's speaking against Israel is because she's a Roman Catholic. And ever since she became a Roman Catholic, that's the reason why she's been spewing more things against Israel. Because it makes me question who's funding her. Is it somehow the Vatican? Potentially, because she's a very popular Roman Catholic influencer. Could it potentially be Qatar or other Islamic nations who are very wealthy and hate the West? I mean, potentially. I mean, who knows, right? These are just ideas. These are just opinions. These aren't facts, right? But it's very, very odd to me how she speaks against Israel, but never against Islam. But she claims to be this woman of God who's very conservative and loves Western values. But apparently, she never wants to speak against Islam, who is a great threat to the West, who hates the West, who hates the people in the West. She never wants to speak against that stuff, and I think I know the reason why. So I want to go ahead and start this off really quickly by...
Okay, I'm going to jump in real quick. Jumping in. Shout out to Nate, this content creator. I will drop the link in here as well. And he's going to explain the anti-Semitism. I was going to, but I'm going to do it on Sunday still. I found Candace's quote unquote testimony of how she converted to Catholicism. And most of you have probably seen it because it's not a secret, but it is a very interesting story to say the very least. And so I'm going to go over it because I found her two renditions of it. She tells the story twice in two different locations, two different places. And I just want to give you a chance to kind of see and hear why it is that she behaves like this when you really can see and hear her explain what conversion actually means. What does it mean to be a Christian? And how does one convert to be a Christian? It is interesting. So it'll answer a lot of questions that y'all have. So I think this guy is doing a great job. So I'm gonna bring him back in. Shout out to Nate. I'm gonna bring him back in and let him finish up because he's gonna explain the form of Catholicism that she converted into. All right.
Saying that whenever we look at Roman Catholicism, we have to understand, just like when we look at groups like Freemasonry, Roman Catholicism also has their own version of that. Roman Catholicism has their own Good Boys Club. Roman Catholicism has their own Freemason Club. Roman Catholicism has their own Bohemian Grove crowd, right? So when we look at Roman Catholicism, they even themselves have their own secret organization or society. Now, I want to really mention that because it's very important for us to understand this, that whenever we look at who the Jesuits are Freemasons, basically, within the Roman Catholic Church, just to simplify it. They're the Society of Christ, as they call it, but they're basically a secret organization within Roman Catholicism that is very anti-Protestant, very anti-liberal, and anti-Jew as well. And I bring this up because it makes a lot more sense whenever you look at Candace Owens' picture on her profile. This is the reason why she has the checkerboards there, and she's right there with a Vatican priest right beside her ever since she became a Roman Roman Catholic. And this also makes sense why she's speaking against Israel and why she was making false accusations against Charlie Kirk, a Protestant, and things of that nature. It just makes a whole lot more sense. Now, I want to bring something that's very interesting to the mix here, because there's this guy by the name of Alberto Rivera, who is actually an ex-Jesuit priest. So basically, he was preaching their false Roman Catholic gospel and belief system to tens of thousands of people, and I think Guatemala or somewhere in Central America, and he felt a heavy conviction by the Lord God Almighty to go ahead and share the truth and to reject Rome and follow Jesus Christ. And so what happened is Alberto Rivera, he ended up preaching the gospel to tens of thousands of people there that believed in the Roman Catholic belief system. And he claimed to be a part of the Jesuit fraternity. And so whenever it comes to the Jesuit fraternity, they do have secret oaths, just like Freemasonry, that they obviously don't want getting out there in the public, right? So whenever you look at the Jesuit belief system, it's very fascinating because they have a Jesuit oath that speaks very, very vile, profane things. And that's what I actually want to go through today and what it says, so that we can continue further with what we're going to speak about as to why Candace Owens is very anti-Israel and very pro-Roman Catholic and pro-Islam.
Okay, you really want to pay attention to this. And this is, I've never heard anything like this before. This is wild, wild work. So Nate's going to read the Jesuit oath, the Society of Jesus oath. And this is the branch of Catholicism that Candace is a part of. So she's not just your run-of-the-mill Catholic. So hear this. This is kind of wild. Here we go.
So whenever we go to the Jesuit oath, it says very clearly over here, I, now in the presence of the Almighty God, the Blessed Virgin, Mary, the Blessed Michael, the Archangel, the Blessed Saint John, the Baptist, and my ghostly father, the Superior General of the Society of Jesus, founded by Saint Ignatius Loyola, do by the womb of the Virgin swear that His Holiness the Pope and Christ Vice-Regent and is the true and only head of the Catholic or Universal Church, I do now renounce and disown any allegiance is due to any heretical king, prince, or state named Protestant or liberal, or obedience to any of their laws or magistrates or officers. I do further declare the doctrine of the Church of England and Scotland and of Calvinists, Huguenots, and others of the name of Protestant or liberal to be damnable, and themselves to be damned, who will not forsake the same. I do further promise and declare that notwithstanding I am dispensed with to assume my religion heretical for the propagation of Mother Church's interests, to keep secret and private all her agents' counsels from time to time as they interest me, and not divulge directly or indirectly by word, writing, or circumstances whatever I do. Furthermore promise and declare that I will, when opportunity presents, make wage and relentless war secretly or openly against all heretics, Protestants, and liberals as I am directed to, expurgate them from the face of the earth, and that I will spare neither age, sex, or condition, and that I will hang, burn, waste, boil, flay, strangle, and bury alive those infamous heretics, rip up the stomachs and wombs of the woman, and crush their infants' heads against the walls, in order to annihilate their execrable race, that when the sin cannot be done openly, I will secretly use the poison cup, the strangulating cords, the stills of the poignard, or the Lenden bullets, regardless of the honor, rank, dignity, or authority of the persons, whatever may be the condition in their life, either public or private, as I at any time may be directed to by any agent of the Pope or the Superior of the Holy Father of the Society of Jesus, in confirmation of which I hereby dedicate my life, my soul, and my corporal powers, and with this danger which I now receive, I will subscribe my name written in my blood and testimony thereof, and should I prove false or weaken in my determination, may my brethren and fellow soldiers of the militia of the Pope cut off my hands and my feet and my throat from ear to ear, rip my belly open, and sulfur burn therein, and all the punishments that can be inflicted on me on earth, and my soul be tortured by demons in eternal hell forever. In testimony thereof, I take this most holy and blessed sacrament of the Eucharist, and witness the same Father with my name written with the point of this dagger dipped in my own blood, and still in the face of the Holy Covenant Now, I want to say, first of all, I
That is
rebuke this
crazy.
oath and this prayer in the name of Jesus. I do not accept that curse over my life.
That is some wild work. And I'm trying to find the download. I have the download copy of it, so I'm trying to find the link so I can share it in the description. But that's some crazy work. that is some wicked, evil work. Now he's going to explain what the Jesuits' issue is with Israel and why they're so anti-Semitic. Yeah, this is wild work. So that's why I was trying to save it to do a whole show on it. But since Kay kept bullying me, I gotta go with the bully. Let's go finish up.
Or anyone here that I know. But I only had to read this so you guys can understand the magnitude and how much the Roman Catholic Church truly hates us Protestants, truly hates the body of Christ. Now, a lot of people just think, well, you know, they have a false gospel, or, you know, they have different belief systems. You know, they're a little off. They have some weird beliefs, some wacko beliefs, but, you know, they're still our brother in Christ. No, they're not. They're far from it. And if you guys don't realize by now, not only are they not our brother in Christ, but that they hate your guts. Well, this is your evidence right here, and if you choose to deny it, that's up to you. But this is what Alberto Rivera spoke about, because again, he wasn't exposed to it, and he spoke of what they believed in and what they call the Society of Jesus. So in the Society of Jesus, they have this concept called the Black Pope, and basically the Black Pope is basically it's like the secret version of the White Pope. So whenever we look at Pope Francis, or we look at the current Pope, Pope Leo, he's the White Pope. He's the Pope that you see in the public, right? It's almost, think of President of the United States, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, and then the shadow government, right? So likewise, you have Pope Francis, you have Pope Leo, which are the face of the Roman Catholic Church, but then behind them you have the Black Pope, which is the real person that does the things behind the closed doors. So that's the reason I bring this up, so that you guys can kind of comprehend this concept as to why Candace Owens always seems to be very anti-Israel. And the reason that is because, as we see from a historical perspective, the Crusades were only caused because they wanted to capture and seize Jerusalem and make it their holy land and their holy city. And the reason why is because, again, Roman Catholics have a very physical interpretation of the Word of God instead of a spiritual, symbolic interpretation like we as Christians do. Because, again, Jesus says, "My sheep will know my voice." And this is how we make a distinction between the wheat and the tares. This is how we know those who are Christian and not Christian, because those who are not Christian, they will not understand the parables of Christ. And we know this from the Word of God, because that's the reason why he kind of said them, right? So again, whenever we look at, for example, how Roman Catholics interpret that we are the church, they think it's this physical institution on top of a spiritual body. Whereas Christians, we know it's not this physical institution, it's just the body of Christ. So whenever you look at Roman Catholicism, for example, they'll say, well, you know, we're the new Christians. And some of them will even say, well, Israel belongs to us. That's our holy land, because they believe in this philosophy that Christians now should live in Israel. That's our land, which is not really supported by scripture whatsoever. But there's this idea that basically it's called replacement theology, where we're supposed to replace the people of Israel with Christianity. Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, I want to see everyone saved. I want everyone to come to Christ, whether you're Jew, Muslim, atheist, Catholic, whatever. I want everyone to come to Christ. But saying that that land belongs to us now as born-again Christians, that's where I would have to disagree. And while some of you guys might think I'm wrong on that, I absolutely disagree. Even if you disagree with me on replacement theology, I absolutely disagree that we should just go ahead and do a whole crusade just to overtake and seize over Jerusalem. But that's the mentality behind these Jesuits, which are like their secret fraternity within Roman Catholicism. That's why I think Candace Owens heavily speaks against Israel, but never says a lick of a word against Islam. Because Alberto Rivera actually mentioned this in his books, and also in his videos. He mentioned many times about how Islam was actually created by the Roman Catholic institution. And the way they did this, and the reason why, was because they saw that there was Christians in the Middle East and Africa in that time. And so obviously the Christians are not going to go against Israel. So what they had to do is they created a false religion called Islam in Saudi Arabia by a guy named Muhammad. And Muhammad, they basically helped him out to create this religion called Islam, shared similarities between their Fatima and the Fatima and Roman Catholicism. And they're like, hey, you know what? You can create your own false religion, and you'll have like all the things of this world that your heart so desires. And so, of course, Muhammad, this barbaric thug in the Middle East, he decides to go ahead and take that opportunity to live out his wishes. And that's where Islam was invented. But that's the reason why Islam is also very anti-Jew. The reason why Islam hates the Jews is because Islam was also created by Roman Catholicism that also wants to eradicate the Jews. So whenever you guys look at why Candace Owens is not speaking against Islam, it makes sense now, because the Roman Catholic Church instituted Islam to have one common enemy, which are to take out and eradicate the Jews. And so it's very fascinating because when you look all throughout history and you look at specific communistic figures and you look at the Vatican created most of the communist figures that we see throughout history. We see Fidel Castro, we see the guy with the mustache, the Austrian painter, we see the Russian communist dude. We see so many different communists throughout history that actually went to Roman Catholic schools. They all went to literally Roman Catholic universities, Roman Catholic colleges, Roman Catholic high schools, middle schools. Like these guys went all to Jesuit high schools and universities. You guys can literally search this up. So it's really interesting. So that's why I think Candace Owens never speaks against Islam, but always speaks against Israel. I'd love to hear your opinions below. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. God bless.
All right. Shout out to Nathan. Let me make sure I grab that link and drop it in the chat as well. So check them out. Let them know what you thought about. I didn't like it. Oh, and I got to give it a subscribe. Get my life together. So yeah, so that's what I was going to share with y'all because I want to go over her testimony and the story she tells of how she came to faith. It's very interesting to say the very least. And when you think about the notion that Charlie Kirk wanted to bring her back to Turning Point, he was just going to invite her back to Turning Point. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. I'm not saying that everybody at Turning Point is, a 5-point Calvinist or Presbyterian. What I am saying, however, is she would have been out. She would have stuck out like a sore thumb. And we'll see that. So we'll do that one on Sunday. I promise you. So don't be trying to bully me, Kay. All right, what we got here? Good stuff going on in the chat. I appreciate y'all. Okay. What do we have here? I'm just going through. Here's the link right there if y'all want to go back and check out what he's doing. This brother, what's his name? Is it just Nate? Nate Born Again. That's his name. Sorry, it's called Nate Born Again. And man, he looks like he's a young guy, but he's putting out some good content. Shout out to him for sure. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here, y'all. Did I miss anything? It looks like good stuff going on. She was a Catholic. As far as I know, she was Catholic. Right, but she got converted, right. Okay. Good stuff going on in chat. Y'all, appreciate y'all. All right, we're going to get ready to bug out of here. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me. I'm going to go hang out with Chief Executive Second Born and talk trash to her. But I thank y'all so much for rocking with me. Let's do this again real soon. I appreciate you all again. And we'll see you all tomorrow, Lord willing. Until then, my good people, grace and peace. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Witt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.